A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Five bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. A 5-alarm fire. 5 bells moving immediately.
That's it. Let's go!
Let's go! Firefighters! Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In just a minute, we'll join Tim Collins in Chief Cody's office at headquarters, where he has been summoned by the chief, who said he had a surprise in store for Tim. Tim, rested up from his ordeal in the loft fire, where he was pinned under the rubble for several hours, is wondering what the chief has up his sleeve, and just what that surprise is, we'll find out along with Tim right after this message. Let's go, firefighters. Let's go to the office of Chief Cody at Fire Headquarters, where he summoned rookie fireman Tim Collins, who, you remember, has just been through a pretty rough time in that loft fire, the one where he was pinned under water-soaked bales of rags and saved only by a miracle. Now, the chief has asked Tim to drop in and see him. Says that he has a very pleasant surprise for him. Well, as Tim walks in his office, the chief is saying,
"Well, Tim, my boy, it's good to see you.
Yes, sir.
No ill effects from that loft fire?"
Oh, no, sir. A weekend of rest and some of Mom's famous Yankee pot roast, and I'm as good as new.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. I got a little idea. Thought you might be interested in a little change of scene, so I...
You mean you're changing my duty, sir?
Oh, no, nothing like that. This is more in the nature of a vacation.
Vacation? Whoa, say, that sounds sort of interesting.
Yes, I think it might very well be. I've got a friend, an old friend by the name of Tom Culpepper. Owns a little weekly newspaper out in Plum Valley.
Plum Valley? Yes, sir, I've heard of that. Out in the western part of the state, isn't it?
Yep, clear west. Well, he's been after me for a long time to come out and visit him. Says he'll set me up fine. Feed me some good home cooking and show me some of the best darn fishing in the world.
Oh, it sounds like a swell idea, Chief.
Yeah, it does. Plum Valley's a pretty little place. And what I was thinking, you've had a pretty rough time of it lately, that loft fire and all.
Yes, sir.
Thought you might like to come along and make it a twosome.
Oh, gee, that sounds great, Chief. I could go for a little rest at that.
Good. Well, then it's settled. We'll go. Can you be ready to take off by tonight?
Oh, sure, Chief. All I got to do is tell the folks and toss a few things in the bag.
Fine. Oh, that reminds me. Today's the big day for Jimmy, isn't it?
Oh, yes, sir. The antique sale.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. He's finally got all his stuff lined up, and they're selling it off this afternoon. I thought I might drop in and see how it goes.
Good idea. I was going to do the same thing. Kids really worked on that sale.
Yes, sir.
I'm hoping it goes well. I'll tell you what we'll do. Our plane leaves at 6 o'clock.
Plane, did you say?
Yes, sir. We're going to Plum Valley in style. You like flying?
Oh, yes, sir. I haven't done much. As a matter of fact, that time I was rescued by helicopter was the only time, but that's sure the way to travel for my money.
Well, suppose we meet at the antique sale. You with your suitcase, and we'll see how Jimmy and Trudy are making out. Then we leave from there for the airport, huh?
Oh, yes, sir. I'll be there raring to go. Say, you know what, Chief?
What's that, Tim?
I'm beginning to think it was worth getting buried under a bunch of bales and bricks. A vacation in Plum Valley. Boy, I can hardly wait.
Well, it looks like Tim and the chief are going to have a holiday from firefighting for a while. And I guess we all agree they deserve it after the tough assignments they've had lately. Well, later that afternoon, as planned, the chief drops in at the antique sale and finds Tim already there, suitcase in hand, eager to get started on the vacation trip. Tim is talking to Jimmy and Trudy when the chief arrives.
Boy, Tim, did the public go for those antiques.
Uh-huh.
Why, in less than 2 hours, they cleaned out every last piece.
Yes, you ought to have seen them bidding, Tim. We must have made $1,000 almost.
Not quite that much, Trudy, but I think it's close to 200.
Oh, good.
Hey, here's the chief.
Oh, hello, sir. The kids say the sale's a success.
Hello, Collins. All sold out so soon?
Yep, everything. Even an old broken-down rocking chair with the paint all off went for $4.
Trudy, you don't speak of our merchandise as broken down. That rocker was one of our choicest pieces.
Well, it looked just plain worn out to me.
Well, I'm glad to hear the sale went so well. The Firefighters Brigade must have a nice bit of money in the treasury now.
Yep, now we can really begin to do things. A few more money-raising schemes like this, and we can get that clubhouse we've been talking about.
That's the stuff, Jimmy. You're one of the best friends the fire department ever had. Thanks to your spirit and leadership, and Trudy's too. The young folks of this town know more about fire prevention than any other group I know.
Yes, sir, there's no doubt about it. A junior firefighters organization in a town can do an awful lot to help the fire department keep the number of fires down.
Say, I see you got civilian clothes on, Chief.
Yes, Tim's told you about our trip, I guess.
To Plum Valley?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, it sounds peachy.
Pretty soft, I call it, taking a vacation while the rest of us stay home and slave.
Well, I guess we can stand it. Fellow needs a change, especially in the fire service. Can take a lot out of you, as I guess you all know.
Oh, sure, Chief, I know. After what Tim's been through the last few weeks, and you too, for that matter.
Which reminds me, it's getting close to plane time. You got that bag ready, Tim?
Oh, right here, sir.
Well, then let's shove off. So long, kids. Take care of Mother Collins while Tim's away.
Oh, don't worry, we will.
So long, Jimmy and Trudy. And be good.
Hey, Tim.
Huh? What, Trudy?
You forgot something.
Oh, good grief, my fishing tackle. Yeah, I can't leave that behind. Goodbye.
As Tim and the chief arrive at the airport, the big four-motored plane is already warming up for the journey west. The sight of the giant aluminum craft gleaming in the setting sun sends a thrill down Tim's spine. As he walks with Chief Cody toward the loading ramp, he is filled with excited expectation of new experiences, new adventures ahead. Well, at the ramp, they're stopped by a tall young man in uniform.
How do you do? You are Chief Cody, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
I'm Captain Lance Lorenzo, pilot of the plane. I've heard a great deal about you, sir, from a relative of mine who's in the fire service.
Well, nothing bad, I hope.
Quite the opposite. Just happened to see your name on the passenger list. Thought I'd say hello.
I'm glad you did, Captain. This is Tim Collins, another smoke eater.
How do you do?
We're off to Plum Valley for a little breather from this firefighting business.
Glad to have you both on the trip. Now, if you'll just go aboard and take seats, I think we're about ready to shove off.
Right, Captain. Come on, Tim. We don't want to get left behind.
With Tim and the chief in their seats and their safety belts securely fastened, the great plane's motors rev up to takeoff speed. For Tim, this is quite an experience, and he watches the operation with wide open eyes. From the porthole next to his seat, he watches as the huge craft turns into the wind, races with ever-increasing speed down the concrete runway, until finally, with a smooth upward thrust, it rises from the ground, airborne and free of the earth.
Something, huh, Chief?
You like traveling by air, eh, son?
Oh, yes, sir. Say, look down at the city.
Yeah, pretty, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Gee, there's Main Street. Looks no bigger than a 2.5-inch hose strung out.
There you go. Can't you forget firefighting? You're on a vacation, son, remember?
Okay, sir. So it looks no bigger than well, anyway, it's small.
Yeah. See, there's the river over there. Just beyond is the street where you live.
Oh, yes, sir. Gosh, it all looks so tiny, so sort of unreal.
Yeah, there's nothing like a plane trip to lift you out of the workaday world, up and away from everything.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Plum Valley. What a peaceful name. That's just what I can go for right now. Little peace and rest with my old crony, Tom Culpepper. No more thinking of firefighting for a while, just a nice, quiet holiday in Plum Valley.
As the big plane cruises smoothly westward, night comes on and the earth blackens out below. The chief dozes in his seat, but Tim, still excited by the adventure of his first plane trip, stays awake watching the stars outside his porthole. Suddenly, his attention is drawn from the window by the opening of the door to the pilot's compartment. The face of Captain Lorenzo, the chief pilot, appears, and a hand beckons to him. Tim rises from his seat and goes forward to the opening door.
Collins.
Yes, Captain.
Chief Cody, is he asleep?
Why, yes, he dozed off a little while ago.
Waken him. Tell him I want to see him.
Oh, why? Is there something...
Wake him up. I want to see him immediately.
In the midst of their peaceful flight to Plum Valley, Chief Cody is suddenly, tersely summoned to the pilot's compartment by Chief Pilot Lorenzo. What has happened that should cause the captain to want to see the chief so urgently? Is the vacation trip to Plum Valley really going to be the quiet, peaceful holiday that Chief Cody hopes it will be? Well, we'll learn more about the reason behind the captain's urgent request to see Chief Cody in our next true-to-life episode of The Firefighters. In just a moment, Fire Chief Bob Cody will tell all of you boys and girls how you can help the firefighters right in your own hometown. But first, here's an important message. And now Chief Bob Cody with a special message for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. I want to speak a moment about your fireman, the man down at the firehouse in your neighborhood, who night and day, winter and summer, stands ready to protect you from the danger of uncontrolled fire. In a way, you might say your fireman is a physician, a doctor whom you depend upon in time of need. Your doctor keeps you well and in good health by protecting you from illness and disease. Your fireman does the same thing by protecting you from fire and the dire consequences of fire. So next time you see your fireman down at the fire station, just remember that he's your friend, that like your doctor, he's an important servant in your community, ready at all times to serve you. Well, that's all for now. Till the next time I drop in, so long.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's roll!
Let's go! Firefighters!
Get this and get it straight. Crime is a sucker's road, and those who travel it wind up in the gutter, the prison, or the grave. This started with a man on trial for his life and an A1 citizen eager to testify. But there it was interrupted. And it wasn't until I found a corpse in a bubbling bath, gunplay in the woods, and lots of blackmail that the real eager witness had a chance to talk.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of mystery, comes his most famous character and crime's most deadly enemy, as we present The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Eager Witness.
Superior Court of the State of California and for the County of Los Angeles now in session. The Honorable Albert Winston, Judge presiding. Everybody rise.
It was the case of the people versus the oft-arrested, never convicted, smooth Earl Jernigan, sometimes bookie, charged in the first degree with a month-old killing of a kindly, gray-haired horse trainer named Kurt Harper, who had once almost been my client. It was the afternoon of the fourth day of the trial, and the prosecutor for the state had already built an almost airtight case against the alleged gambler when my turn finally came.
To further substantiate the state's claim that Earl Jernigan did willfully and with malice aforethought take the life of the deceased Kurt Harper. Will Mr. Philip Marlowe take the stand?
Raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name and occupation.
Philip Marlowe, private detective.
Take a stand.
Mr. Marlowe, on the morning of the 30th day of July last, the day on which the late Kurt Harper was murdered, were you hired as a private detective by the said Mr. Harper?
I was.
And at that time, Mr. Marlowe, did Mr. Harper state his reason for hiring you?
He did. He wanted me to act as his personal bodyguard on the following day when he planned to drive to San Francisco.
Did he say why he needed a personal bodyguard?
He did. He told me he was afraid for his life. That he refused the gambler's demand that he drug a certain racehorse a week earlier. That gambler had threatened to kill him.
I see. Now, Mr. Marlowe, did Mr. Harper name that gambler?
Yes, he did.
Who was it?
Earl Jernigan.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Counsel for the defense?
Counsel for the defense waives cross-examination, Your Honor.
The witness is excused.
Didn't make sense. No cross-examination. Because from the opening adjective, the counsel for the defense, a dapper item named Calder, who always appeared in French cuffs, gray gabardine, and a cocky, uninviting smile, had raved, ranted, and practically spit at each witness the state had presented. So the courtroom was left with a tingling impression that Earl Jernigan's attorney had something of a surprise waiting up his legal sleeve. Later, when Calder was on his feet and addressing the jury, that something started out fast.
Now that the state has taken the trouble to offer so much circumstantial evidence, so much hearsay, rumor, conjecture, now will I smash all of that with the testimony of one man. One man known to all of you as an outstanding citizen of this city. A prominent real estate broker. An unimpeachable witness eager to testify. Mr. Leonard Gaines.
It worked. Landed in each and every lap like a live grenade and exploded all the way around at once. And when the eminent Mr. Gaines, gray at the temples, maybe 45, and neat and expensive midnight blue flannel with giant stickpin to match, took the stand. And in his own meeting of the board tone of voice told the court that Earl Jernigan had spent the entire day and night of July 30th last with him at his Malibu Beach home. The prosecuting attorney's jaw dropped to his chest and he stared, dumb.
No day or night did Mr. Jernigan ever leave my home. And as for the hour of the murder, 8 o'clock in the evening, we were having dinner. After that, we played gin rummy until midnight.
Are you sure of that, Mr. Gaines? The hour of your dinner, I mean.
I am positive, Mr. Calder.
No, you can't be. You're lying.
Quiet in the court. Order. Miss Harper, order in the court, please.
No, I won't be quiet. I won't anymore.
Miss Harper, quiet. Order. This court is adjourned until tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
Another scotch and soda, mister?
Yeah, I guess so. No, wait a minute, baby. I think I'm going to have company.
Mr. Marlowe, can I talk to you for a minute? I'm
Gail Harper, yeah, I know. What I don't know is why you're not doing 30 days on a rock pile for that rumpus you just kicked up in court. Would you like a soft drink?
No, thanks.
All right, just one, baby.
Check. The judge said he understood and left me off with a short lecture, which is what I had counted on.
Oh. You mean all that fireworks in there was planned, not just spontaneous combustion?
That's right. I had to have time. Look, Mr. Marlowe, will you work for me?
Oh, well, now look,
will
baby.
Will you help me prove that Mr. Leonard Gaines is a liar and that Earl Jernigan did kill my father?
Now, take it easy, Gail. It's a big mouthful, you know.
Mr. Marlowe, listen, please. There isn't much time. We got to prove this tonight or never. By noon tomorrow with the outside, the case will go to the jury.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
Take over where I left off. But first, let's get out of here.
All right. And never mind that drink, miss. Where do we start, honey?
With Leonard Gaines' ex-wife, Debbie Jansen. Here's a snapshot of her. They were divorced about 6 months ago, Mr. Marlowe, and she wasn't very happy about it.
No, huh? Made you figure she was your in?
Yes, and I was right. Mr. Marlowe, it took eavesdropping, bribery, second-story work, but I found out plenty.
I'll bet you did. Like what? Oh, hold it, Gail. Lights red.
Like the fact that Debbie and a guy called Eugene Mowry are putting a bite on Gaines for $20,000. Blackmail, Mr. Marlowe, with the payoff scheduled to be made sometime tonight. Right now, she's staying at the Sunland Sulphur Springs Lodge out in the valley. Gaines used to go there once in a while for his arthritis. And the why of the whole business is a letter Gaines once wrote to his ex-wife.
No fooling.
Uh-huh.
Well, tell me, what's that to do with Jernigan's trial and Gaines being a... Oh, it's green now.
I think there's a connection, because yesterday I overheard Debbie tell this Mowry something about Gaines' scheduled appearance at the trial today, and... Oh, Mr. Marlowe!
Hey! Those jerk California drivers.
The man behind the wheel.
What about him?
That thin-faced, blonde hair. I've seen him before. I know he was trying to hit one of us.
Oh, fine. Well, that'll keep things from getting dull, won't it?
Then you're gonna help me.
Well, now, look, who could resist you, baby? Okay, tonight I check in at the lodge at Sunland Sulphur Springs. Come on, let's get out of here. was 8 o'clock and almost dark when I reached the foothills of the mountain range that separates the San Fernando Valley from L.A. proper, and turned off onto a narrow dirt road that ran through a twisting gorge, past a moon-faced watchman who asked no questions as he slowly opened a sagging wooden gate, faintly labeled Sunland Sulphur Springs, where Mother Nature's remedies bubbled from the earth private. It was another 5 minutes along the same dirt road uphill and through thick foliage before I was at a parking space out of my car and walking the last quarter of a mile toward the lodge itself that was spotted with widely separated cottages, also sagging, and each tagged Casa, and followed by something Spanish and hard to pronounce. Inside the place was cheap porch furniture and occasional threadbare rugs over scarred pine and deserted, except for a sleepy old guy with thick-lidded eyes and an accordion-wrinkled face who was slouched in a heap behind a sign on the reservation desk that read Maynard Sharp, no less, night manager. When I gave him my name and said that both my rheumatism and I needed a rest, he came too, almost.
Room, Mr. Marlowe? Well, let's see. Can let you have most any one of the cottages. Half of them are empty. Things kind of slow this time of year.
How slow can you get?
You'll be surprised. How's about Casa Francisco de Leon?
Casa Francisco, Yeah, that'll be fine, Mr. Sharp.
All righty, sir. Now, if you'll just sign the register here, I'll get your key. But,
as I signed my name, I checked the guest list quickly. And the next second found what I wanted. Deborah Jansen. And next to that, and in a different hand, her cottage for the night. Casa Rolando de Barandido. That's close enough. Well, anyway, it was all I needed. I took the key from Mr. Sharp, a misnomer if ever you heard one, learned the location of my quarters, paid him in advance, and left. Outside, I turned to my right, past a large open bath that smelled like rotten eggs and talked to itself like a junior Vesuvius, as more warm sulfur waters, equally unpleasant to smell, bubbled from a pipe in the center. Beyond that was the first cottage, another casa I couldn't pronounce, and it stayed like that all the way down the line, until I reached the second one that showed light. It was the casa known as Rolando de Barandido, and when I moved closer and around to a window that was screen only, I knew that my client had done her eavesdropping well, because in the center of the room and putting on her coat was the ex-wife named Debbie, and standing nearby and holding on tight to the cigarette in his hand like it was support was what had to be the boyfriend, Eugene Maury.
You're sure that Gaines will go through with this all right?
For the 100th time, Eugene, yes, I'm positive. Can't you understand? He has to. Besides, $20,000 won't break him. It won't more than bend him a bit. Now, stop worrying.
But I can't. Debbie, why must you go alone? Now, why can't I go with you?
Eugene, please, we've been over that. I told Leonard that I'd meet him in town at the Beverly Crest Hotel at 10 and alone. He agreed to also be alone. Except for the money.
Debbie, you do handle things well. Come here, darling. With a kiss for your brilliance.
Oh, please, Eugene, there isn't time.
Oh, what's the matter? Are my kisses losing their flavor at this point?
Don't be a fool. Look, it's late, Eugene. It's after 9 already. I've got to hurry. Now, go on. Go on, be a good boy and leave now. We shouldn't even be seen together tonight.
Well, why not, Debbie?
It's not smart. Here. Meet me at the Tulip Room, darling, at 11 as we planned. Then, Eugene, we'll have time and reason to relax. $20,000 worth of reason.
As Maury oozed toward the door, I slid away from the cottage and into the shadow of a clump of trees nearby. Stayed there as he walked out of sight down the road that led back to the parking space. Then a few minutes later, when Debbie clicked off the light and left, I moved out of hiding and started slowly after her at a safe distance. Until from someplace in the night an ugly, snub-nosed automatic that belonged to someone blonde and thin-faced as a near automobile accident stopped me cold.
Where you going, Jack?
For air. I love to walk in the country at night, okay?
I wouldn't know, Jack. I'm a city boy myself, but as long as that's what you want, it's Jake with me. As long as it's where it's good and dark. Now, go on. That way. Move. Jack, that's far enough. Hold it. Turn around and face me.
Why, so I can watch you pull the trigger?
Never mind why. Just turn.
Okay, turn it is.
That's better. Now, one step closer.
One step closer.
Hey, what's that?
A pheasant, my friend, taking one. Now, before I beat you into little pieces, let's have it. Who are you? Who do you work for, and what do you want with me? Come on, gunman, talk.
Okay, no more. My name's Langley. Work for Earl Jernigan.
Oh?
Yeah, I've been watching you ever since the trial started. Jernigan didn't want you moving in, hon.
Which is why you tried to pick me off with a car when I was with Gail Harper this afternoon, huh? Come on.
Yeah, that's why. Now what are you going to do with me?
For the time being, Buster, leave you as is. Flat on your back, because I've still got to catch up with the lady before she reads a letter. City boy.
In just a moment, the second act of Philip Marlowe. But first, because of the sharp rise in America's birth rate during the war, we face a very serious educational crisis. Many communities will find that their schools lack sufficient teachers, classrooms, and facilities. Citizens must get together and work for better schools, more teachers. If we want all of our children to have a chance for a good education, we must take action now. Now, with our star, Gerald Moore, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Eager Witness.
It was strictly hit and run. I piled Langley into the Manzanita and didn't even wait to see him bounce. Instead, I took off through a gully that was a shortcut to my car, because I knew that Jernigan's watchdog had nothing to offer compared with the hot-headed Debbie Jensen, who at the moment, no doubt, was well on her way to the Beverly Crest Hotel, and a blackmail rendezvous that was a cinch to wind up in the final destruction of the letter. That was my theory. But I dropped it like a hot rock just as I crossed the path to the sulfur pool.
Mr. Marlowe! Somebody screamed! Yeah, in there by the spring! Oh, gosh! Oh, my gosh. Sure had to happen to me.
It was nothing but sulfur fumes and the thick gurgle of the springs until Sharp played his flashlight over the pool. Then we saw her.
Oh, my gosh.
And the water that was turning red from blood oozing around the knife in her back.
Look. It's Miss Jansen.
Come on, Pop. Give me a hand. Let's get her out of there.
Yeah,
Come on. Take it easy now. Take it easy. That's it. Debbie.
I never should have tried it.
Tried what? Who was it, Debbie? Who did this?
He got the letter.
Who? Who got the letter, Debbie? Debbie.
Marlowe, did she pass out?
For good, Maynard. She's dead.
She seemed to be mumbling something about a letter. Did you get what it was?
Yeah, only part of it. The killer apparently took the letter away from her. Believe me, that's bad.
Letter? What's a letter?
Wait a minute.
Huh?
Oh, it's probably that pheasant again.
Letters? What are you talking about?
Oh,
son?
I guess I'm just getting jumpy. Hey, there is somebody. Come on, Pop.
Sounds like he's over there, Marlowe.
Yeah, I can hear him.
Oh, no, that ain't going to do you any good, son. Not in that brush, it ain't. And what's more, I wouldn't go any further if I was you.
But Pop, all he needs is 10 seconds and he can destroy that letter for good.
Well, just the same, there's 1,000,001 places a killer can hide in there and lay for you, son.
Yeah, Pop, well, it's the moment it's a stalemate. I'd sure love to find out who that snake in the bush is.
You know, I've run a peaceful place up until it's getting to be like one of them there movies. Only thing left out is a posse.
Yeah, you're so right. Murders in the night, lost letters. It's corny enough without a posse.
Yeah, and might dangerous, too.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Are you ready to...
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'll lead you back to the office. My Jasper, I don't understand this one bit. Miss Jensen is stabbed to death over that letter, and in her dying...
Hey.
Huh? What is it?
Up ahead there. Some
somebody duck behind that big tree. Keep the chatter going, man. Walk on up the path. Don't let him know we spotted him. Go on, talk.
Okay, sure. I was saying I don't understand. Well, our place here is generally as quiet as a tomb.
As the old man grimly ad-libbed his way up the path, I followed a few feet behind. When he got even with the tree, I turned suddenly, took 3 fast steps, and grabbed. Come here, you. Let go of you.
Hang on to him.
Well. Mr. Leonard Gaines, the unimpeachable citizen himself. Stand still, Gaines.
A gun. What's the idea, Marlowe?
Try running and it'll come to you. I suppose you've got a legitimate reason for being here all thought up?
I'm here because I've got a touch of arthritis. I need a treatment and a night's rest.
Arthritis isn't all you're going to have if I find what I think I'm going to find in your pockets. Empty them, Buster. I said empty them.
All right, I'll empty them.
That's better.
Sharp, you're a witness, and I demand that you...
Now, just a minute, Mr. Gaines. You're in a pretty bad spot to demand anything.
There's our baby. There's the letter we've been looking for. Pick it up, Gaines. Pick it up and read it.
Now, see here, Marlowe.
See there, Gaines. Read it while you're able to.
Yeah. My dear Debbie, if I didn't know you so well, I'd resent your stupid accusations. Now, look, Mark.
Read it.
We've already made our property settlement, as you're well aware, and you'll be a long time finding a court that says otherwise. Now you know where you can go, so why not get started as ever, Leonard?
Oh, fine. That's about as incriminating as a lecture on the family meat bill. Sharp, whose jurisdiction are we under here?
County Sheriff's Office.
All right, call him. Also, call your man out on the highway and have him lock that main gate.
Main gate?
Yeah.
Say, now, that's a good idea. I'll do it right now.
Now, wait a minute. Have you got a gun?
Yep, got a rifle. Been in the family for years.
Can you use it?
Well, yeah, I reckon I can. Well, where are you going?
Out to round up Langley. He'll be pushing hard to give his boss's star witness here a big helping hand. I want to be in shape to push back. And remember, Pop, keep your eye on Gaines and not on the phone when you make those calls. I'll see you. The second time that night, I started down the hill and toward the car lot, keeping in the shadows and moving slowly this time. Because it was odds on that Langley had taken everything in. And I knew that he'd try to part my hair with a gun barrel and pull Leonard Gaines out of the jam he was in the very first chance he had. So I stayed off the paths long enough to have both socks full of burrs when it happened. But not what I expected. It was the Sharp family blunderbuss that had exploded with a blast like a small howitzer. So also for the second time, I turned and ran back up the hill, this time to the office. I got there just as Maynard, climbing hand over hand up a smoking rifle barrel, made it to his feet. Maynard, what happened? Where's Gaines?
Well, I don't know. It got away, I guess.
Well, the shot. What about that?
It went up there, through the roof.
Oh, fine.
Well, gosh, I didn't suspect a thing. He just said he wanted to smoke.
But he didn't happen to have a match, I know. So you hung your rifle over your arm, stuck both hands in your pockets to find one for him, and that's when he took you.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Well, how'd you know?
Never mind, Pop.
Well, I made a grab for him, though. Ripped his coat about halfway off.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
But I'm sure sorry he got away, Mark.
All right, don't worry about it, will you? Can't get far with the gate locked.
Well, I got bad news there, too. Oh, the gate's locked, all right. But there's a back road.
There's a back what?
Back road.
Right, yeah, well...
It ain't much. It's rough and rocky, but it's passable. And anybody's been up here as often as Mr. Gaines has sure know about it.
Oh, great. Look, Pop, can't you understand that there was a murder committed here tonight and we had the murderer? No buts! Fell for the oldest gag in the world.
But
I was a sucker to turn him over to you. And will you stop waving that envelope?
I just think you ought to see this.
All right, what is it? Oh. Where'd you get all that loot?
Gaines dropped it when I ripped his coat.
$20,000, it says here on the wrapper. Something else written here, too. Casa Rolando de Barandito. It's him. Casa... Pop, that's it. That's the answer. Come on, we gotta get down that back road in a hurry. Sharp at the wheel of the pickup truck, we bounced over the pair of sometimes parallel ruts studded with stones the size of bowling balls. It was called the back road. The better part of 2 miles before he cut lights and motor and whispered that if Gaines was going to get stuck at all, it was sure to happen in a dry wash just around the next bend. I told him to wait and went ahead on foot. He was right. Gaines was stuck in more ways than one. His car was up to its hubcaps in sand and his wallet up to its stamp compartment in blackmail. conducted by his ex-wife's murderer with the same leather she'd had, the letter. It was Eugene Maury, and clenched in his hand was a tattered white envelope, nothing more.
I'll make it easy for you.
I held my .38 in close to my side and edged up behind him.
20,000.
Now, Maury, I don't have that much.
You'll lie. You're going to pay her that. I don't know. I know because we worked the deal out together. Only she got greedy. Tried to double-cross me and pull it alone.
Oh, so you killed her?
Yes, I didn't intend to, but when I found out that she tricked me, I was furious. The first thing that I knew, I stabbed her. That's enough of that. Just give me the money. You've nothing to worry about.
Now, listen, Maury, I tell you,
You listen, Gabe. You're in no position to bargain. It's better than having your $200,000 gambling debt exposed and your reputation ruined, isn't it? Or facing the trigger man, Langley, if you refuse to alibi for Jernigan, isn't it? Or bucking a perjury charge if you do alibi? Oh, no. You got yourself in a corner again, so pay off. Only 20 grand.
But I tell you, Maury, I don't have it.
You're lying again.
No, he isn't. Don't move, either one of you. Leave your hands where they are. I got the 20 grand right here, and it's pretty well earmarked as blackmail payment already. But just to round things out, Maury, I'll take that envelope you've got there.
Yes, well, what do you want this for?
Funny man. Because it's no doubt postmarked with an hour, a date, and a location, which together with Brother Gaines' own handwriting places him out of town on July 30th, a time he swears he was at his Malibu home all day with Jernigan. Right, Gaines?
Smart boy, aren't you, Marlowe?
You still got a chance, Gaines. You better gamble with me. You've got nothing to lose now.
I'm with you.
Stand still, Buster, or help me out.
Now, Gaines, go! Oh, my leg!
Were you thinking of going someplace, Mr. Gaines?
No. No, I'm not going anyplace, Mr. Marlowe.
Well, Gail, the big show's about to start. Court will be in session in a few minutes.
I know. And different from yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, you did a swell job, Mr. Marlowe. Gee, I don't know how to thank you.
Save it, baby. If that scale Lady Justice holds in her hands was in better balance today, it was your hunch and old Maynard's blunderbuss that did as much to put it there as my running around through the brush at Sulphur Springs.
But all I knew was the game was lying. I didn't know it was as complicated as it was.
Well, that's because Debbie Jansen was twice as treacherous as we figured.
I still don't understand. How did you know that Eugene Maury had killed Debbie?
Well, you see, baby, I overheard her tell Maury that she was going to meet Gaines in the Beverly Crest Hotel at 10 for the payoff.
Uh-huh.
But I figured that was a lie strictly for Maury's benefit when Pop gave me the packet of money Gaines had dropped. It had that complicated name of a cabin and the time of the appointment, which was also 10 written on it. So I knew the real meeting was scheduled to take place out there. See?
Oh, I see. Then she was going to send Maury off to the Beverly Crest while she collected the money at Sulphur Springs and then beat it alone.
That's it, honey. You see, if her cabin had been named something simple like Number 4, then Gaines could have remembered it. Instead of that Casa Robino del Bangadoro, whatever it was, he had to write down, you see? Well, then things might have been different.
Ah, you'd have found a way. After all, you figured out it was the postmark that was important.
Only after I've been slapped in the face by a perfectly harmless letter with no envelope. Had to be the postmark. What else?
Oh, they're starting.
Yeah.
Good luck, Mr. Marlowe. Give him the works.
Don't worry, baby. I'm the eager witness today. We're going to knock them dead. Literally. They got it coming. I watched Jernigan's face as the preliminaries got underway. The killer was beaten. When the court finally settled down to work and the prosecutor took over, I listened to his deft build-up as he primed the jury and the dramatic ringmaster voice he used when he called.
Will Philip Marlowe take the stand, please? Now, Mr. Marlowe, you told us yesterday that you are a private investigator. Now will you tell the court in your own words what happened to you last night?
I sat there looking into the cold, baleful eyes of the prosecutor and thought of a paraphrase on that wonderful quote from Oliver Wendell Holmes. It's not enough to ask for justice. One must also hope for mercy.
Mr. Marlowe.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Well, it began here in this room yesterday afternoon at about 3:30 when the counsel for defense called a witness, and Mr. Leonard Gaines to the stand.
Adventures of Philip Marlowe, bringing you Raymond Chandler's most famous character and crime's most deadly enemy, star Gerald Moore, and are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Joy Terry, John Daner, Michael Ann Barrett, Junius Matthews, Ben Wright, Lou Krugman, Larry Dobkin, and Bud Whittam. The special music is by Richard Orunt. Be sure and be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
The trail started in Montana, with a bum with two names rushing away from his lady love, and led fast into L.A. past a southerner from Canada, a worried wool dealer and a chorus girl with a .45. When it finally stopped at Murder in the Park, the tramp was still in a hurry.
You and I have a friend coming to call next Monday night. She's my friend Irma. If this beautiful, lovable, but dumb blonde isn't your friend now, she will be the moment you hear her over most of these same CBS network stations next Monday following the Lux Radio Theater. My friend Irma will bring you plenty of laughs and great entertainment. So be sure to make friends with my friend Irma these Monday nights on CBS, where you'll hear them all this fall. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Now, stay tuned for Gangbusters, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, where Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts are heard Mondays, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And now, in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States, the CBS Radio Network presents Gangbusters. Gangbusters, the only national program that brings you authentic police case histories, has asked Lieutenant Thomas J. McGrath, retired, Chicago Police Department, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Lieutenant McGrath.
Thank you. And good evening, Gangbusters listeners. Because state boundaries and city limits mean nothing to a criminal, the police of one jurisdiction must often call upon those in another for assistance in trapping a fugitive. Such assistance is invariably offered most generously for many reasons. Principally, because a fugitive loose in a city will eventually become a lawbreaker there. To show how it works, let's begin one summer afternoon a few years ago in the city of Chicago. In a lunchroom on Madison Street, west of the river, a man in his middle 30s sat at a table waiting for the waitress to bring his order. He also kept his eyes on the front door. Finally, another man arrived and walked to his table.
Hello, Nicky. How are you, John? Long time no see. Sit down. Yeah. When you called and said it was you, I thought somebody was kidding. What you doing back in Chicago, Nicky?
I missed the lake. Came back to look at the water.
Things get too hot on the coast?
Something like that.
How you fix for cash?
Don't tell me you're giving it away.
Off your press. Always in the market for good merchandise.
Well, maybe we can do some business, John. If your prices have come up any.
Show me what you got. I'll put a price on it.
I landed in town. The place looked strange to me.
Well, things change in 10 years, Nicky.
I didn't know a soul, so I said to myself, Nicky, maybe old John is still in business. I look you up in the telephone book, and what do you know? There you are at the same old stand. How's the cleaning and pressing business, John?
It's all right for a sideline. Bring whatever you got around. I'll make you a deal.
Got one piece with me.
Let's see it.
Sure.
Things are hot on the coast, huh?
Lukewarm. Diamond ring. Genuine antique. I'm going to stick around Chicago, John. I got myself a two-bit job in wholesale grocers.
Job's a good thing. 500 on the ring, Nicky.
Give it back. Genuine antique.
Okay, suit yourself.
Here you are, mister. Oh. Hi, John.
A hamburger, Liz. Not too well. A cup of coffee.
Okay, John. Hey, that's a nice ring.
You're telling me.
It's the kind of ring a girl dreams about.
Go on, Liz. We're talking business.
Oh, you know it's business.
Bet you don't break your back on that job, Nicky.
Just a few pencil points. I'm a checker. What'd you call that waitress, Liz?
Yeah, why?
Not a bad-looking trick.
Well, maybe I can fix it up for you.
I can do my own fixing.
Yeah? Here she comes. See how far you can get.
You want your coffee now, John?
No, later.
Okay. How's the beef, mister?
Great. What there is of it. Say, I've been away a long time. Maybe you'd like to show me a few of the new spots around.
And maybe I wouldn't. What do you have for dessert?
Apple pie's not bad here, Nicky.
If a girl treats me right, I treat her right.
Do you want dessert or don't you? I got 5 other tables.
Apple pie sounds okay. No, John, I don't think I'll sell you the ring. No, I don't think so.
Well, it's up to you.
I can find some use for it, I guess.
Do you want coffee with a pie or something?
How about it, kid?
Okay, mister. You've got a date.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, at about that same time, another man arrived in Chicago from the West Coast. He was Sergeant Ed Sully of the Homicide Bureau, Los Angeles Police Department. He checked his bag at the LaSalle Street station and took a cab to the police building at 11th and State, where he was immediately shown to the office of Lieutenant Peter Sukor.
Hello, Lieutenant.
Oh, come and sit down.
Yeah, thanks.
How's the trip?
All right, fine, I guess.
Oh, this is Detective Joseph Seeley. Sergeant Sully.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, you got a hotel?
Yeah, I got a reservation at the Royal.
Oh, it's a nice place. Where's your bag, Sergeant, outside?
No, I checked it in the station.
Well, we can pick it up later. Now, this guy, Nicky Small, we haven't got anything on him here. He was never arrested here under that name.
No, I don't guess he was. We don't think he started to use that name till they got out to the coast. He was picked up out there for investigation of robbery a couple of times and released. I brought along some mug shots and a set of prints on them.
Oh, good. Sass, send these prints up to DI and have them checked out, will you?
Yeah, sure, Lieutenant. By the way.
So, how long has it been since this Nicky left Chicago?
Oh, 8, 9 years.
It's a long time.
The information we got says that at that time he hung out on Madison Street near the river.
It's a lot of territory. And rough territory.
Prints are on the way up, Lieutenant.
Oh, good. Who'd he kill anyway, this Nicky?
Well, he and 3 others tried to shake a restaurant owner. They found his money and beat him to death.
Nice boys.
We got 3 of them. They told us Nicky originally came from Chicago, and they thought he was headed back here.
Well, pretty much of a long shot.
In addition to the cash, they took some jewelry. Nicky's part of the jewelry was an antique diamond ring.
Oh, yeah, I saw the circular on that. The chief sent the circular along with the letter. What do you think, Sass?
We can try.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Sergeant. Sass will drive you over for your bag and get you settled in a hotel, then we'll start checking around that neighborhood. Okay?
It's okay with me, Lieutenant.
We'll help you find him, if he's here.
Well, after coming 2,000 miles, he better be here.
Finish your drink, Liz, baby. There's more where that came from.
I don't need any help from you. I can finish it without you putting your arm around me.
What kind of a sport are you anyway?
Not the kind of sport you think, Nicky. Now, keep your distance.
If I'd have known it was going to be like this, I wouldn't have given you a second look in the restaurant.
I got a lasso and dragged you out with me.
What's the matter, Liz? Don't I appeal to you?
In a way, yeah.
What do you mean, in a way?
You're okay, Nicky, but I wouldn't want you to get the wrong impression.
And it ain't no burning romance.
You said you wanted a little company. Here I am, company.
What are you fishing for, kid?
Me? Fishing?
I got you tagged, baby. The minute I flashed that ring, your eyes popped out.
Hey, what do you take me for?
I don't blame you, baby. Anybody'd like that ring. But like I told John, I got a use for it.
Oh?
What do you say, kid? Come here.
Stay away from me. Stay away.
Oh, okay.
In a public place, I never.
Well, I was just getting up close to tell you. The ring is for you.
For me?
Yeah.
You don't mean it.
Didn't I say it?
Nicky. Oh, where is it? Let's see it.
Now, you don't think I'd carry a valuable ring like that around with me?
No, I guess you wouldn't.
When I give a present, I give what suits the lady. How about tomorrow night?
What time will you be by, Nicky?
Same time, baby. And dial up. Dial up good. You got a real surprise, Kelly. Now, how about that other drink?
Well, Nicky, I can't hardly finish this one if you're holding me so tight. But it's nice.
So, Gangbusters listeners, as the fugitive was getting settled in Chicago, detectives began the tremendous job of canvassing the district west of the Chicago River between Madison Street and Cermak Road, showing the fugitive's photograph to merchants, hotel clerks, and rooming house operators. Late the next afternoon, Sergeant Sully and Lieutenant Sukor were walking together down Madison Street.
Well, I guess it's pretty hopeless, Lieutenant.
Yeah, 8 or 9 years is a long time, Ed.
Lieutenant, I can't ask you fellows to waste any more time.
The files are full of cases have been cleared because a little time was wasted on them. We'll stick with her till we...
Hello, Lieutenant. Ed?
Any luck, Sass?
No, not a nibble. I flashed Nicky's picture at every shopkeeper on the side streets all the way down to the park. Oh, they ought to make these sidewalks soft.
Well, how about Malloy?
He's working the other side. He ought to be along any minute.
What do you say, Ed? You willing to call it a day?
Sure, Lieutenant. Some of the stores are closing anyway. There's no need of you fellas going any farther with it. I'll cover the rest of the neighborhood myself tomorrow.
That's a big order, Ed. We'll stick with you one more day. How about it?
You got a deal.
Come on, Sass. Let's find Malloy and get out of here.
Lieutenant, you got another deal.
Back to Gangbusters in a moment. Here are some sensible thoughts for amateurs in the investment field. Before you turn to any type of investment, you should have a cash reserve for emergencies. And before you turn to speculative investments, you should have a growing amount of non-speculative United States defense bonds, whose interest is guaranteed. Remember, the new U.S. defense bond is worth more quicker. It builds up towards the full 3% interest on a much faster time scale, so that even if your bonds must be cashed in before full maturity, they pay much more than before. Regular bond purchases are patriotism with profit. Where you bank or where you work, buy U.S. defense bonds regularly. They help America, and they help you to future security. And now back to Gangbusters.
Okay, all right. Hi, Nicky. Come in.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, this is not a bad place you got here, Liz. Not bad at all.
I call it home. You like my dress?
Yeah, it's nice.
Well, sit down, Nicky. Make yourself comfortable.
Come here, baby.
And Nicky, I just put my lipstick on.
Did you?
Nicky, is that package for me?
Well, that depends.
Oh, honey.
What's your lipstick?
Who cares for lipstick?
Yeah, I guess this package is for you.
Gee, it's kind of a big package for a ring.
Well, I had to do a job of wrapping for something that fitted you so perfectly.
I guess you did.
Well, go on, open it.
Oh, sure. Oh, well, this is really something. It's just a... Nicky. What is this, anyway?
Just what it looks like. A bottle of pickled onions. We got 1 million of them where I work. You want some more?
Why, you...
Yeah, go on.
What do you think I am?
I'll tell you what you are. Trying to con me out of that ring.
Go on, get out of here.
I just want you to know that nobody plays me for a chump. Nobody. Nobody, understand?
Please.
You understand? We'll see if you understand this. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, please.
Okay. As long as you understand. That kind of stuff might go with some of those jerks around that hash house, but not me. Remember that.
Get out of here.
You don't have to coax me, baby. I'm gone. Hope you enjoy the onions.
Nicky, here. I hope you enjoy them.
You're lucky, Liz. You're lucky you got such a rotten name. For crying out loud, John, will you stop that pressing and talk business with me? I want to make a deal for this stuff.
Look, Nicky, in the first place, nobody asked you to come. In the second place, a customer's coming back for this suit in half an hour. I promised him it'd be pressed.
What's more important, the cleaning business or making a deal for this stuff? I got to get back on the job.
Somebody's come in out front.
It's not that guy for a suit already.
How should I know? You wait here. Good afternoon. Something I can do?
We're from the police department.
Is something the matter?
No, we'd just like you to take a look at this picture. Tell us if you know this man.
This man?
Yeah. Is he a customer? Have you ever seen him around the neighborhood?
No.
He doesn't look familiar to you?
No.
Are you the only one who waits on trade here?
That's a small business.
Who's that in the back you were talking to?
Nobody. Just a customer getting his pants pressed. No, I never seen this fella. Come on, Ed.
Much obliged to you.
So long. And, thanks.
It's okay. Any time.
Go ahead, Lieutenant.
You. Nicky, you know what that was? Cops.
Cops?
Yeah, and they flashed your picture.
You're kidding.
No, I don't kid about this kind of thing. You're hot, Nicky. You better move. Get packed. Get out.
All right, okay, I'll move. Stop pressing that suit. They might be hanging around.
Yeah.
Well, Lieutenant, I guess we might as well call it quits after today, huh?
Oh, we still have a little while to go, Ed. Only takes one break.
Yeah, but where is it?
Yeah. How about a cup of coffee?
Sure, why not?
Come on, we'll duck into that place there. Doesn't look too bad.
No, not too bad.
Go on.
Counter or table?
Well, how about that table there?
Good enough. Well, nobody can say we didn't try.
What'll be, gentlemen, lunch?
No, just coffee from me.
Coffee.
Coffee here, too, and a piece of pie.
We got apple, cherry, lemon meringue, peach, coconut.
Apple's okay.
2 coffees, 1 apple pie.
Miss.
Listen, I don't go out with the customers.
We're police officers.
Yeah? So?
Take a look at this picture. Tell me if you ever saw the man in here, will you?
Well, yeah, sure. Hey, it's Nicky.
What, you know him?
Yeah. What's he done?
When'd you see him?
Well, gee, last night I was out with him.
You know where he lives?
No.
Or where he works?
No. We were only out twice. He never told me a thing. Honest, nothing. Only met him in here. He came in with old John that runs a cleaning and pressing place.
In the next block?
Yeah, that's John.
Do you think Nicky will come back here again?
If he does, I'll kill him. I almost killed him last night, that dirty rot. What's the use of talking to me?
What happened?
He's supposed to give me a present, a chisel. Do you know what he gives me? A bottle of onions, a bottle of pickled onions. The wise guy didn't cost him a cent. He told me he got him where he works.
And where's that?
I don't know, I told you. Some wholesale grocer, I guess.
Where are the onions? Have you still got them?
I threw the bottle at him. It broke. Hey, what's going on? What's he done?
Plenty.
I can imagine.
What's your name?
Liz Truman. No relation. What did he do, anyway?
He's wanted for murder.
Murder?
Yeah.
Oh, murder. Brother.
All right, Liz. We'll call you when we need you. Go take care of your tables.
Yeah, murder. Brother.
Well, there's your break.
Yeah. We ought to start checking all the wholesale grocers around here.
Well, the first thing I'd better call in and get 2 men to stake this place out.
It's a good idea. He might show back here. What about this John?
We'll stake his store out, too. Huh? Feel better, Ed?
Yeah. A lot better. We were fishing without even a line. Now at least we've got a hook.
We'll come up with a fish, too. Just wait.
Hello?
Hello, John. Nicky. Gotta see you.
I got the store staked out, Nicky. Stay away.
What about that merchandise? I gotta make a sale.
You want to land us both in a can? Stay away.
I bought a car. I need the cash. I'm pulling out tomorrow afternoon.
Well, you better start pulling out right now. You're hot.
The car won't be ready.
Get off the wire, Nicky.
Listen, John.
Well, I gotta get off the wire. So long, Nicky. Good luck.
Ed. Yeah. Hello, Lieutenant. No sign of him around here.
Get in.
Yeah. What's doing?
So Seeley located the place where he works.
What?
Yeah. It's a wholesale grocer's.
That's a break, Lieutenant.
I don't know. He didn't show up on the job today.
Oh, I knew it was too good to be true.
Today's payday, and he's got a week's pay coming.
If he thinks we're close to him, he'd be a fool to show up for it.
Well, let's play him for being a fool. We'll stake the place out and hope for the best.
So, Gangbusters listeners, officers who are working to trap the elusive killer arranged an around-the-clock watch at the wholesale grocery warehouse. The next morning, Lieutenant Sucor and Sergeant Sully, dressed in work clothes, loafed near the entrance to the loft building in which the warehouse was located.
Ed, I got a sneaky suspicion this John tipped him off. I hate to say it, but it doesn't much look like he'll show up here or anyplace else in town.
Like I said, if he's got any sense, he won't.
Well, he seems to be a pretty cute operator.
Wait a minute. Look at that guy.
Well,
he's headed this way. That looks like him.
yeah, some.
He's turning into the building.
Let's check him out.
Same build, all right.
I got the door. There he is, at the elevator. Sass is on the elevator. He'll make him, too. Okay. Did you ring it up, pal?
Yeah, I rang it.
Nice day out.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'd like to go see the Sox play.
Oh, here we are.
Up, going up. 5.
6, please.
5.
Listen, Nicky.
Listen to me. What's the idea?
Stop, Sass.
Yeah. What are you...
We're police officers, Nicky. Hold still.
Don't move.
Now, listen.
Don't move, I said. Nothing on him.
What do you expect to find?
Okay, Sass. Take it down.
Yeah. Hey, what's the idea? I just come to collect my pay. I'm a working man.
I'm going to collect a lot more, Nicky. Back in Los Angeles.
Oh.
That. Yeah, that. It's a rap for murder.
So, Gangbusters listeners, this killer was flushed out from among 3 million people by Los Angeles and Chicago officers. He was returned to Los Angeles and placed on trial for murder with his confederates in the crime. All were found guilty and are now serving maximum sentences of life imprisonment in various California institutions.
Thank you, Lieutenant Thomas J. McGrath. Now, Gangbusters Nationwide Clue, broadcast every week as a public service to assist American police in their war against the underworld. Attention all citizens. Be on the alert for John Othello Evans, wanted by the FBI for unlawful flight to avoid confinement for the crime of robbery. Listen carefully to his official description.
Age 33, 5 feet 8 inches, 150 pounds, slender build, brown hair thinning, blue eyes, fair complexion, scar on upper lip, has tattoos on inner right forearm of a scroll with the names Stanley and John and the year 1937, tattoo on left forearm of girl's head. He may seek work as a restaurant worker or punch press operator.
Caution. Evans may be armed and should be considered dangerous. If you have any information concerning this clue, notify your local police, the nearest office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or Gangbusters at once. Tonight's Gangbusters case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by Leonard L. Bass, with Ralph Bell, Joe Julian, and M.C. Strickland in leading roles. The entire production was supervised for CBS Radio by John Ives. Stuart Metz speaking. Gangbusters, a production of CBS Radio in cooperation with Phillips H. Lord, is brought to you each week, same time, same CBS station. For top Sunday night drama, don't miss your Playhouse on Broadway, co-starring a nationally known actor or actress with a college drama school student, adding to the drama of a good story the human interest of a newcomer's first big chance at stardom. Also Sunday nights on CBS Radio, listen for Inner Sanctum, where the atmosphere keeps cool in spite of the weather, where there are chills and thrills for every member of the family. Tomorrow night, enjoy Playhouse on Broadway and Inner Sanctum for two rattling good stories on most of these same CBS radio stations. This is the CBS Radio Network.
Proudly we hail. From New York City, where the American stage begins, here is another program with a cast of outstanding players. Public service time has been made available by this station for your Army and your Air Force to bring you this story, as proudly we hail the Women's Army Corps. Saying that one picture is worth 10,000 words. This is the story of a picture worth a lot more than that. A picture worth $1 million, and of a photographer, a girl, who thought up the picture and wanted to take it. Our story today is called Portrait of a Soldier, and you'll find out about it in a moment. About the girl photographer, Private Marion Bliss of the Women's Army Corps. But first...
Have you noticed the new trim wax uniform worn by the young women who are serving in the Women's Army Corps? This new uniform not only stamps the wearer as being smartly dressed, it also indicates that she is doing her part to keep America strong. If you are a young woman between 18 and 34 and can qualify, you are urged to do your part in making unity, strength, freedom a reality. Go to your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station and enlist in the Women's Army Corps today.
And now your Army and your Air Force present the proudly we hail production, Portrait of a Soldier. Recognize that sound? It's the sound a picture makes being sent by wire to press services and newspaper offices all across the country. This is the story of such a picture worth $1 million, and of a girl who thought it up and wanted to take it.
She looked like $1 million, too, in her wax uniform.
That was Don Ludlow, top photographer for the New York Chronicle. Ludlow was borrowed by the Army to serve as a civilian instructor at the Photographic Center at Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, where he taught members of the Women's Army Corps in the still photography and photo lab course. One of the women there was Private Marion Bliss, a useful and ornamental member of Uncle Sam's Army.
When Marion entered my class, she wasn't very useful to the Photographic Center because she just finished her basic training and didn't know a shutter from a Venetian blind. But I guess you could call her ornamental. That is, if you happen to like lively brown eyes, trim ankles, and the kind of figure you see on calendars.
You don't?
Who doesn't? But Marion had fiery red hair.
Yeah, I know lots of... well, never mind. What's wrong with that?
Marion had a fiery red temper to match. I should have known. I remember the day I found out. It was about 2 weeks after Marion arrived at Monmouth. She was determined to be a demon photographer and fix easy lessons. I was explaining to my class the value of using your head to save your film. Now, this shot seems to be of a bear in a zoo.
It was a polar bear in Central Park Zoo. He was yawning, Mr. Ludlow.
Oh, is that what it is? That's so blurred I couldn't make it out, Private Bliss. Why don't you take time to set up your tripod? If you've got a steady camera, you can get a better shot.
Mr. Ludlow, Marion didn't have time. If it had been Mr. Ludlow, the bear would have told him when he was going to yawn. Wasn't a shot like that worth it, Dad?
A poor picture is as bad as no picture at all, Private Anderson. Often worse, because it may make you lose a chance to get a good picture. Just remember, think before you shoot.
Don't put ideas in my head.
Now, any more questions?
Yes, sir. Would you have taken a chance on getting that picture of the bear yawning even without a tripod?
Well, Class is dismissed. Private Bliss, like a word with you.
Yes, Mr. Ludlow?
If you want to be a good photographer, you've got to learn to take criticism, honey.
Don't call me honey. I'd like to know what any of us have gotten from you since we've been here.
That's the only way to show you how to avoid making the same mistake twice, Private.
Did it ever occur to you, Mr. Ludlow, that a little praise now and then might help to...
Oh, so that's it. You want me to praise you, huh?
It would be encouraging if I could think that at least one picture I made isn't a total failure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I must admit, you made one very fine picture.
Oh, have I?
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
The picture you make in that uniform, honey. Even I couldn't take a better one.
What? Oh, of all the...
Hey, Marion, come back. I'm sorry.
Hey, Marion, look at this. Mail call. Mail. I can't stand the sound of the word. Men are all a bunch of egomaniacs, smug, unfeeling. Take it easy, girl. Different kind of mail. Look at the big box that came for you. Open it up and give. It's from your mother. Well, we've all been waiting here drooling, hoping it's another fruitcake. Oh, okay, come and get it. Oh, I'd like to shove it down that guy's throat, box and all. Don't let that Ludlow guy get you going, honey. Well, he treats us as though we're a bunch of backward children. I'd like to see some of the pictures Mr. Big takes.
Take a look at this issue of Photo News. It's got a whole article on him.
Oh? Let's see. Yeah, listen to this. John Ludlow, one of America's outstanding news photographers, added another prize to his growing collection with this shot, which won him his third Page One award.
For heaven's sake, cut the tape before you read us the whole thing. I'm starving to death, and you read a magazine.
I'm sorry. Well, here. Begin, everybody.
Oh, thanks, Mary.
Hey, see, the Army does pretty well by us, doesn't it? Getting a big shot like Ludlow to teach us photography.
Big shot. He's big in the head.
Why, he's cute. He sort of looks like Gregory Peck.
Almost. Sometimes I think your taste is all confined to your mouth.
Attention. Lieutenant McCusker.
Eddie, this is an unofficial visit. I was just over talking to Mr. Ludlow. He told me how well you're all getting along. Well, I'm proud of you, and I wanted to tell you so. He said some of you seemed a little discouraged, but there was no reason for it. Oh, fruitcake. How nice.
My mother sent it, Lieutenant. Won't you have some?
Thank you, Private. By the way, what do you hear from Korea? Is your brother about due for leave?
He's on his way home now. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, that is wonderful. Well, I have to dash now. I'm due at a staff meeting in 8 minutes. By the way, the General's having some special guests at inspection tomorrow. I know you'll do me proud.
Gee, nice girl, that Lieutenant. Imagine her remembering about my brother.
Wasn't it nice of her to tell us what Ludlow said? She must have come right over.
Maybe he's not so bad after all.
Maybe not. And you know, you might be right, Alma. He does look a little like Gregory Peck. Especially on the picture they used of him in the magazine.
And I think if you'd use your rangefinder control instead of guessing, Betty, you'd find it would pay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Alma, for the love of Mike, you forgot to pull out the slide on that shot.
Oh, good heavens. I guess I'll never learn. I never seem to remember to do all the things. I always forget one.
Well, it has to become automatic. Let's see how your camera's set now, Alma. Good girl. That should be perfect.
Professor?
Hmm?
I don't want to bother you, but would you do me a favor?
Yes, of course, Marion. What?
Well, would you take a picture of me to send to my mother?
Sure, I'd be glad to. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Now, hold it. Got it?
Professor?
Huh?
I think you'd better take that one again if you want it to come out. You hadn't used your camera yet today, and your lens was still cast.
Oh, my. Okay, tell Alma. I guess I was too interested in what I had in the viewer.
What?
You.
And that's the way it went for the full 12 weeks' course. Then Don left Monmouth for his old job in the New York Chronicle. And a week later, Marion graduated and was assigned to the Public Information Office in Fort J on Governor's Island, New York. Her boss, Captain Adams, thinks she's a whiz. Said she took the best picture of President Eisenhower he'd seen. Don had seemingly passed out of her life, and vice versa. Until one day, the chief called him into his office.
Marlowe. Huh? I got an assignment for you. Penn Station. A trainload of movie stars are due in to kick off a big defense bond drive this week. Oh, no. An artiste sent to shoot cheesecake? Honestly, Chief, you just don't appreciate my talent. What's wrong with cheesecake when it's Rita Hayworth, huh? Oh, well, nothing in the world, Chief. Take it all back. Not a thing. Hey, you know, I'm a sucker for red hair. So maybe you'll be eager enough to get some pictures back here in time for the first edition, for a change. I always do. Oh, sure. On my honor as a Boy Scout, I'll be back in a flash with the flashes. You're better.
Miss Hayward, please.
Hold it a minute, Rita.
Oh, hey, you shot
Every man for himself, lady.
Oh.
Just one more, Glamour Puss. Thanks, Rita.
Well, of all the rules, no manners.
Sorry. Oh, hi, you.
John Ludlow, that great man in person.
Yeah, what are you doing here?
I was trying to get a picture until you shoved me out of the way.
Well, you got to learn to shove back, kid. Here, I'll show you. Okay. Out of the way, Bud. Move over. Give the little lady a chance. Now you can get a clear shot.
Got it. Oh, and thanks.
Hey, you stationed around here?
Fort Case.
We can't talk here. How about dinner?
Well, no, I got that.
All right, I'll meet you at 7:30. Pick you up. Give me your address. The chief is probably getting a horse yelling for you right now. Enjoying yourself, kid? It's a wonderful town when you're with the right person. There are more things you can do. You like the music hall?
Oh, it was wonderful, Doc.
It was a good show.
Whoever thought there would be a place like this in the middle of New York, on top of a hotel where you can dance outdoors under the stars. I can hardly believe I'm here.
I can hardly believe you are either. But I'm not pressing my luck. I'll just accept it. But you're not all here sad. What's the matter?
Oh, I'm having a wonderful time, but I keep thinking about those pictures for the bond drive. I've got the glimmering of an idea.
Oh, here we go again. You know, Marion, you look like Miss America, but you've got a speed graphic built into your mind. If I should tell you your eyes are beautiful, you'd tell me they were compensated viewers and automatic range finders. Now, look, you're out with a guy. I'm trying to tell you something.
Oh, silly. But it's your fault. You taught me how important range finders, viewers, light meters, shutter speeds, and opening are.
Okay, baby, I know when I'm licked. For a minute, anyway. Now, what's the idea that's hammering at your mind and hampering my plans?
I was trying to think of a picture that would be dramatic and at the same time show people just what their money goes for, the money they put into defense bonds.
You've thought of one, or you wouldn't be talking.
Maybe it's been done. It's so simple, but I think it would be effective.
Well, get on with it, honey.
Well, why not take a group of soldiers, like the garrison at Fort Jay, for instance, line them all up and spell out, buy U.S. defense bonds.
Oh, it's not bad.
Well, you don't like it.
No, I was thinking about it. I do. It's good. Simple. Guess it's a message across easily. What are you going to do with it?
Well, I don't know. That's what I was asking you.
I'm not sure what I think, except that right now I can't think of anything except that PFC Marion Bliss is smiling at me.
I didn't think you'd notice.
What? Oh, your promotion. Huh? Well, congratulations. But I'm not surprised, Marion. With your ability, I expect to see you go right up. I can see you. I'll take pictures of it. PFC Bliss, Corporal Bliss, Sergeant Bliss, Lieutenant Bliss, and Colonel Bliss.
Wait a minute. You skipped a couple of grades in an awful hurry.
I know. I got tired of waiting. So did you.
Oh, I wish it were that fast. Though I'm quite happy at the moment being a PFC. I'd be even happier if you could find some way to use that picture idea.
Look, honey, I want to keep you happy, but couldn't we just forget about this screwball picture idea just for tonight? I told you I'd see the chief.
John Ludlow, you haven't changed a bit. Screwball picture idea. Just because you didn't think of it. You're the same egotistical, self-esteem genius that I first met.
Honey, hold on.
I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to hold on to my temper. I'm getting out of here before I lose it.
Before you lose? Marion, honey, come back. Marion, I'm sorry. You are listening to the proudly we hail production Portrait of a Soldier. We'll return in just a moment for the second act.
Here's an opportunity for you young women of America. An opportunity to get in step with the smartest. Today, the rapidly expanding Women's Army Corps, proud newcomer on the team of defense, needs qualified young women between the ages of 18 and 34. This is your chance to do an important job. The pay is good with excellent prospect of rapid advancement. Why not check with your local United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station today? You'll find that it's easy to get in step with these proud American women who are serving their country in the Women's Army Corps.
You are listening to Proudly We Hail, and now we present the second act of Portrait of a Soldier. It didn't look as though Don and Marion would ever get together for her picture idea or anything else. And then Don had an idea. He went to his boss.
Well, how about it, Chief? We get the okay?
We got it, Don. They'll have all the men stationed at Fort J out in the parade ground tomorrow afternoon. As soon as your helicopter comes in sight, they'll fall into formation and spell out, "Buy U.S. bonds." And you'll get the picture.
Good. That's a picture that should get in the papers all over the country. Ought to sell 1 million bonds.
Oh, hold on now, Ludlow. Just one thing. Just one thing. How did you ever get an idea for a picture to sell defense bonds?
Well, I'll tell you, I had a dream in a nightclub one night. Remember that when you get an expense account voucher for 2.
How far do you think you can stretch my patriotism? Oh, Captain Adams at Fort J, he's your contact, said the Army will give us full cooperation. Now, out to that airport before that pilot starts charging us overtime.
Well, Private Blick, what do you think of the idea?
Oh, I think it's fine, Captain Evans.
Good. You're the girl for it. I'm counting on you to see the newspaper gets whatever help it needs to get the picture. Every soldier in the garrison who can be spared will be on that parade ground waiting for the helicopter to fly over. Army was very pleased with the idea. Consider it an important job. Now, Withers will take the Army pictures. You'll be the Army's liaison with the press photographer. You'll give them every assistance.
Oh, don't worry, I will.
Fine. They're sending Don Ludlow. He's one of the best men in New York, I hear.
Oh.
What's the matter? Don't you like him? I thought you knew him. That's why.
He was my instructor at Monmouth.
Well, good. You two should have plenty to talk about.
Plenty.
Now, the formation is called for 3 o'clock. We shouldn't have any trouble getting...
Fine thing. You know how much time I'm wasting waiting for that character to show up?
Oh, gee, I'm sorry. I don't know what could have happened to Mr. Ludlow. I called his office. They said he left a long time ago.
Not that I'm minding too much. It isn't often I get to wait with a girl as pretty as you. You know, that uniform looks good on you.
It looks good on every girl.
That a girl. Stick up for your unit. But that photographer, he's crazy to keep a girl like you waiting. Of course, if he wasn't crazy, he wouldn't be a photographer, eh?
I can assure you all photographers aren't crazy.
Only listen. Okay, sister, don't get sore.
Oh, I'm not sore at you, but this is ridiculous. Those troops are ready and waiting. The aerial camera is ready and waiting. You and your helicopter ready and waiting. Everybody's waiting for the great man, Don Ludlow. I wonder if he doesn't overestimate the power of the press or of his name.
Never knew Ludlow to be this late.
Oh, you've flown him before?
Yeah, nice fellow.
No. Oh, he's impossible. He could have walked here in the time he's taken if his office was right about when he left. Maybe he ran out of gas or something.
Not unless he's driving some babe down a country road.
Oh, so that's the kind of guy he is. I wouldn't be surprised at that.
You must like this guy. You hate him so.
Hate him? I wouldn't do him the honor.
Well, it's all very interesting, but I was set to take off at 2:30, sister. If he's not here by 3:30, I'm leaving, ready or not.
But you can't. The picture.
If Ludlow isn't here, that's his funeral. I've got other jobs.
Where in the world do you think that newspaper photographer is, Captain Adams?
I can't say, sir. I've called his office, sir.
What time is it now?
Almost 3:30, sir.
No, this is too much. I can't keep these men out here in the hot sun all afternoon.
No, sir. You want me to dismiss them, sir?
I hate to keep these men waiting this way, Captain, but I would like to get that picture.
I know just how you feel, sir.
And I'd like to get my hands on that photographer, Captain.
I'd like to help you if you do. Oh, wait a second.
No, it's just another plane going somewhere.
Ludlow had motor trouble.
Possibly. But he could have phoned or something. We'll wait 10 more minutes, Captain. If he hasn't shown up by then, dismiss the men.
Yes, sir.
I didn't think that would be a good picture.
Hey, wait. Oh, there it is.
Ah, at last. Yeah, they're well trained, Captain.
Thanks.
Remarkable things, those helicopters. Look at the way it hovers there.
Well, it didn't take them long once they got here.
They must be all through. They're going away.
Yes, sir.
Oh, there you are, Ludlow. I was beginning to think you'd pulled another fast one. Governor's Island was on the phone looking for you. So was someone at the airport. Glad you made it this time.
I didn't.
Those pictures better be good.
Uh-huh. I didn't get there.
You didn't get there? Then what are you talking about?
I couldn't make it. There was a fire.
Couldn't make it? First Army promised us cooperation. They'll court-martial you. Me, too. I wouldn't blame it. You mean no pictures?
No pictures. I didn't get there.
Oh, where in the world were you? Stopped off in some nice, cool bar, I suppose. And forgot what time it was.
Nope. Where I was, it was hot.
Where I'd like to send you, it'll be hotter. What kind of people they give me to run a newspaper with? Well, what's the story this time?
Well, I was in the Queens Tunnel going out to the airport from here. Traffic had jammed up. I thought it was a traffic jam.
Longest traffic jam I ever heard of.
Well, the truck going through the tunnel caught fire. Stopped all the traffic. Couldn't go forward, couldn't get out until they got the fire out and towed the truck out.
And that'll be a good story. You got pictures, of course.
Of course.
Well, that's something. Oh, ye gods, what'll I tell First Army? I get the whole army to do something for a picture and you... Now, hold on. You get out of that helicopter right away, get those pictures. I'll call the general, have him hold his men till you get there.
It's too late now, Chief. Light's no good. Sun will be down by the time I get there.
Take him by the light of a match, but get those pictures.
The man would have been dismissed a long time ago.
Ludlow, you're fired.
Now, listen, Chief, there was a fire. Can't you understand?
All I can understand is that I want a photographer who comes back with a picture when he goes out to get one.
Well, maybe we can use the Army picture.
Call him up and see if they'll let us have a copy, but that doesn't excuse you.
Yep.
I'll be on the extension.
Public Information Office, Captain Adams speaking.
Hi, Captain. This is Don Ludlow.
Oh, you're calling for PFC Fletch. He's not back yet.
Ludlow, I warned you.
About the pictures today.
Yes, Fletch called Ludlow. The Colonel and I were about to wring your neck with our bare hands when your copter appeared, keeping those men out in the sun all that time.
What? Look, I got caught in the tunnel. The truck caught fire right in front of me.
I told the Colonel must have been some reason. It's a good thing you got there, though. He's quite interested in that picture. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it was a good idea, all right.
Say, I wonder if you could let us have some copies. You were late coming. Our man with us was called off to do something else. We figured it didn't matter as long as you were going to take some. So you'd give us a few copies.
I would be glad to if we had any.
If you had any what?
There seems to be a crisis here. The chief will call you back later. Well, I tried. He just wouldn't understand.
Nobody seems to understand you, Ludlow. I hope your new boss, if you ever get another job, which I doubt you will...
Well, so long, Chief. It's been real nice.
Come back here, you idiot.
What, you mean I'm still with you?
No. I mean, leave the pictures of that tunnel fire.
Oh, well, they're downstairs being developed. As a final favor, Chief, I'll go down and see if they're ready yet.
I'll notify accounting. You can pick up your check tomorrow. Or have them mail it to you.
They told me I find Mr. Ludlow here.
Not anymore, you won't.
Oh, he doesn't work here?
Not for the last 10 minutes, I'd say. I just fired him.
Oh. You're his boss.
I was. I feel like a free man now. What can I do for you?
I'm Private Bliss of the Public Information Office at Fort J.
If you come about those pictures, he didn't take any. The blithering idiot can't even find his way across the East River.
I came to bring you the pictures.
What? Well, Captain Adams said Withers was called off, and Ludlow says he didn't get there.
He didn't. I did.
You're beginning to look as though you came from heaven.
Well, not from that high. Only a helicopter.
How come you got the pictures when Ludlow didn't?
Well, when your pilot and I realized Mr. Ludlow wasn't going to arrive, we just flew over and got the shots anyway.
Well, this I've got to tell Ludlow. He can't even get to the airport, and a slip of a girl goes up and takes the picture.
Well, that isn't anything, sir. Every whack gets photographic training in aerial photography.
Chief, those fire pictures are... Oh. Hello, Mary. Ludlow, this young lady got the Bond pictures and saved our necks. I want you to meet a photographer who can use her head as well as a camera.
We've met.
Yes. Chief, this is the dream I told you I had at the nightclub. Nice dreaming, boy. Your taste's improving. Well, this was her idea, that Bond picture.
Confession is supposed to be good for the soul, Mr. Ludlow.
Well, your idea, your pictures. If you ever leave the service, I want you to work for me. I can always use a good photographer. Hey, what are you doing, Ludlow? Calling Captain Adams. Being credit is given where credit is due.
Public Information Office, Captain Adams.
Hi, Captain. This is Don Ludlow again. Crisis is over.
Oh, good. Now, how about those pictures?
Well, I was trying to tell you. I never got out to the airport. But Private Bliss used her head, took my pilot and helicopter when I didn't show up. She took the pictures.
Oh, good. I knew you wouldn't let us down.
Look, that's what I'm trying to tell you. It wasn't me. It was Private Bliss. Using her head over and beyond the call of duty or something.
Well, that's wonderful. Tell us he doesn't have to report back to the office now. Thanks. Oh, and tell her I'm proud of her.
I will, so am I. Be seeing you.
Well, Don, I thought you were the most conceited man.
He is. A nice girl like you shouldn't have anything to do with him.
Oh, that's what I keep telling myself.
Yeah, I know. It's like the way I fire him. Then he gets a lucky break and comes in with a spot picture while someone else covers the picture he should have had. Hey, where are those fire pictures, Ludlow? Still downstairs. I decided if I was fired, you could run your own errands. I was telephoning. You mean you made a phone call not from this office? Can't believe it. I was calling Bannon at the Globe. Huh? What did he say? Well, I ought to tell you he offered me a job and $10 raise over what I get here. But I can't. He wasn't in. Okay, I know what I'm licked. You're back on the payroll. Now stop loitering, Ludlow. Get downstairs and help Brownie get those Bond pictures developed. Okay, Chief? Come on, honey. You were assigned to this job. Want to help me and Brownie?
Well, how far can my duty take me?
Well, Captain Adams says you don't have to go back to the island this afternoon. And besides, you were told to cooperate with the paper. That's me, in every way possible.
Well, of all the conceited...
That's really what you think of me?
No. No. I'm afraid I think you're pretty special.
Get out of here! I got a paper to get out. Come along, honey. You heard the boss.
Yes, sir.
And that's the story of Portrait of a Soldier, the $1 million picture. Because one of the pictures TFC Marion Bliss took was credited with selling $1 million worth of defense bonds. So, proudly we hail TFC Marion Bliss and the other hard-working, devoted girls in the Women's Army Corps.
Young woman, how about your future? Does it include an interesting and important job? A job that will take you to the exciting places of the world, places where tomorrow's history is being made today? Right now, young women like yourself are urgently needed to serve their country in the Women's Army Corps. Here is your opportunity to secure your future. Go to your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station and get all the facts today.
This has been another program on Proudly We Hail, presented transcribed in cooperation with this station. Proudly We Hail is produced by the Recruiting Publicity Center for the United States Army and United States Air Force Recruiting Service. This is Kenneth Banghart speaking and inviting you to tune in the same station next week for another interesting story on Proudly We Hail.
Moran and the boy pulled me to safety. The boy was then sent to fetch a carriage I had waiting. Shortly, we were on our way to see a doctor under my employ who set my ribs, leg. My own headquarters had been raided, so it was best I stay in hiding until I could recover. Day after day, my hatred for Holmes had increased until I could stand it no longer. I informed Moran that he must kill Holmes.
But he failed.
Oh, yes, he failed. Moran and I devised a plan where he might rid the world once and for all of Holmes. Good plan. I had warned Moran to be cautious, that Holmes was dangerous, that he could outsmart him. Well, Moran was smart, but not smart enough. And so he forfeited his freedom. And thus the insufferable Dr. Watson had another tale to tell of Holmes' victory over me.
The adventure of the empty house.
Doesn't that man ever stop writing those obnoxious adventures? Each time he reveals how Holmes crossed my path and defeated me, the public is more aware of my presence, and I much prefer anonymity. But I must give Moran credit for one essential thing. Because of his loyalty to me, not once did he reveal to Holmes or the police that I was still alive and recovering. At least now, with my recovery, I can reorganize, regroup, and again build my empire of power and crime. But this time, I shall use the newest advances of science, the newest inventions to combat Holmes.
Including the automobile?
Automobile? What's that?
I mean, the horseless carriage.
Oh, yes. I shall also use the horseless carriage. Why do you ask?
Well, you were kind enough to tell me about the haunted bagpipes. May I, in turn, tell you a story Dr. Watson told me called The Adventure of the Horseless Carriage?
If you must.
Kreml Hair Tonic and Kreml Shampoo present the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes, starring Nigel Bruce as Dr. Watson and Tom Conway as Sherlock Holmes. Now let's drop in again on Sherlock Holmes' famous colleague, Dr. Watson. Good evening, Dr. Watson.
Good evening, Mr. Bell. I was watching from the window as you drove up. Do my eyes deceive me, or haven't you a brand new car?
I'm glad to say I have, Dr. Watson. You want to come out for a spin?
No, thank you. Some other time, perhaps. I can't help thinking of the first time I ever accepted such an invitation.
I sent a story, Dr. Watson, and judging from the reminiscent expression, one in which you and your friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, were both concerned.
Oh, hardly, Doctor. You're quite right, my boy. Sherlock Holmes and I took our first ride in a motor car together back in the autumn of 1903, when Holmes had just concluded the affair of the creeping man.
I refuse to listen to any more hints, Dr. Watson, unless you're going to tell us the whole story.
Oh, of course, Mr. Bell. As soon as you've had your word with our listeners, I'll relate the strange account which I've entered in my casebook as the adventure of the horseless carriage.
Men, if you want to be a success in life, remember that well-groomed hair means a lot to a man's appearance. I've heard so many men complain lately that the hairdressing they use is too greasy or too highly perfumed. That's why I urge you to try Kreml Hair Tonic. This highly specialized hair tonic has just enough light oil to keep hair handsomely groomed, every lock in place, with a rich, healthy-looking luster. Yet Kreml never leaves the hair looking or feeling greasy or sticky. This is because Kreml contains a special combination of hair grooming ingredients which is found in no other hair tonic. After you apply Kreml, just run your hand over your hair. Notice how delightfully clean your hair feels. So tempting for the ladies to touch. Notice how no greasy film comes off on your hand or hatband. Kreml always gives hair such a handsome, clean-cut look, as if you just combed it. And it keeps it that way all day long. Kreml, Kreml Hair Tonic. Now, Dr. Watson, you have my undivided attention. How about the adventure of the Horseless Carriage?
It all began one morning when Holmes and I were breakfasting in our rooms in Baker Street. Holmes was opening his mail.
If you can tear yourself away from the kidneys and bacon for a moment, Watson, I'd like to read you a letter.
It's a bad habit, Holmes, burdening your mind with problems at breakfast. It appears a suggestion, told you so 100 times, but go ahead.
My dear Mr. Holmes, my friend Mr. Alexander Holder of the banking firm of Holder and Stevenson of Threadneedle Street informs me that you recently were of great assistance to him in a highly confidential matter.
Oh, what's the matter?
I'm therefore taking the liberty of calling upon you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, Tuesday, in the hope of obtaining your assistance and advice. Yours faithfully, Austin Grierson.
Grierson, Austin Grierson. Seems to me I've heard or read about that name somewhere later. Have some more tea?
Thank you, no. Take a look at his letter and see if you can form any conclusion from it, while I have a glance at what our reference books can offer on Mr. Grierson.
Mailed yesterday. Postmarked Southampton. Mr. Grierson is presumably well-to-do. The note paper is expensive quality.
Capital, Watson. What else?
Nothing else, I see.
My dear Watson, nothing else that you observe, you mean. Mr. Grierson has evidently written under the stress of strong emotion. Notice how the pen nib has dug into the paper at several points. He is evidently a man who is used to having his own way. The manner in which he appoints the hour at which he will call upon us today indicates that. He is obviously mechanically minded, and despite his wealth, still interests himself in machinery.
Oh, now, Holmes, how can you tell that?
There are faint traces of 2 fingerprints of the writer's left hand, where he held the paper with fingers that were a trifle oily. And your nostrils should enable you to identify the very faint odor of machine oil.
No, not my nostrils.
The light is better over here near the window. Let's see what our reference book says.
Well?
Austin Grierson, Chairman, Board of Directors, Southampton Machine Works, patentee of Grierson's internal combustion engine for motor cars.
Ah, that's where I saw his name in a newspaper account concerning a race of some of these idiotic new horseless carriages.
Quite so. And furthermore, Watson, I can tell you that Mr. Grierson is fond of animals, and especially a large Airedale.
Now, Holmes, I absolutely refuse to believe that you can deduce that from the fellow's letter.
I never said I could. But it's precisely 10 o'clock, and Mr. Grierson, complete with Airedale, has just been ushered in our front door by Mrs. Hudson.
Amazing deduction, I must say. You saw it out of the blasted window.
Come in. Good morning, Mr. Grierson.
Good morning, gentlemen.
I'm Sherlock Holmes, and this is my colleague, Dr. Watson.
How do you do? How do you do, sir?
How do you do, sir? Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, I'm glad to meet you. Quiet, Jeff, quiet there. This is my colleague, and a very good guardian, too.
Sit down, Mr. Grierson, and tell me why you feel the need of a watchdog. The newness of his collar and lead would indicate that you've only recently acquired him.
You're quite right, Mr. Holmes. Well, I'll get to the point at once. I made all my money in machinery. I don't mind saying it, I'm a pretty wealthy man. During the past 3 years, I've devoted all my time and most of my fortune to developing the coming wonder of the world, sir, the motor car.
Wonder of the world, eh? You'll never replace a horse, Mr. Grierson? Never.
You sound like my nephew Edward, Dr. Watson. He shares your opinion. But I assure you, sir, that if my new motor car can only win the forthcoming endurance test, of which you may have read, I shall have no difficulty in selling a car a week.
52 cars a year? Preposterous.
Nevertheless, it is the case, Dr. Watson. In fact, Mr. Holmes, it is the very excellence of my prospects that has brought me to you.
How's that, Mr. Grierson?
I have just recently completed and been testing the first model of my new car. 2 cylinders instead of the old-fashioned 1. Tremendous power, Mr. Holmes. The endurance test is to be held tomorrow over a course from Southampton to Alton and back. A distance of over 40 miles.
40 miles?
And I feel certain that my new car will win. And as you can easily imagine, gentlemen, the ensuing publicity will be invaluable. In fact, Mr. Holmes, I have no hesitation in saying that I must win.
I see.
At least one of the backers of the other 3 cars that entered in this contest feels the same way. And the last 2 weeks there have been one very definite attempt to damage my new car, and yesterday a second attempt almost resulted in my death.
Evidently, some people do take these horseless carriages seriously.
Yes, Dr. Watson. Unlike you and my nephew Edward, who feels that I'm dissipating the family fortunes in a mad scheme, some people do. Only the fortunate fact that I was driving slowly at the moment saved me from death when the testing apparatus broke.
It could not have been an accident, Mr. Grierson? Did the mechanism show definite signs of being tampered with?
Beyond any doubt, Mr. Holmes. There were file marks on the steering yoke.
And you're certain that these attempts are being made by outside sources, not by members of your own family or persons associated with your venture?
My family and fellow workers are above suspicion, Mr. Holmes.
So I hope that you will undertake to guard both the car and myself during the next 24 hours until the race is over.
Under one condition, Mr. Gerson.
Name it, sir.
I'm always anxious to experience a new sensation. My condition is that you take Dr. Watson and myself for a drive in your racer as soon as we can get to Southampton.
What?
Done, Mr. Holmes.
Not I. You'll never get me to risk my life in one of those wretched things.
How fast are we going?
Better than 16 miles an hour.
Well, the dust's enough to choke you. Ah, thank heavens. That's better.
Have to slow down. Wouldn't do to frighten that farmer's horse if he's passing.
Whoa, Bess. Whoa, steady, girl. Confound your stinking motor car.
Useful vehicle if you have to slow down almost to a standstill every time you see a horse.
Don't worry, Doctor. The horses get used to it.
Not if they show horse sense. You like that, Holmes?
Appalling, my dear Watson.
Gentlemen, here we are, safely home again.
Most interesting experience, Mr. Grayson.
Oh, phew. I'll feel better when I've washed off some of this dust.
We'll go up to the house in a moment, Dr. Watson. I'm so sorry there's no place to wash up down here in the barn. I've been keeping the car here for the past couple of weeks instead of down at the machine works. At least this old barn is near the house. I wonder where that fellow Simmons can be.
Just a moment, gentlemen. I'll hang up your dusters in this cupboard.
Here, now, get away from that car, you two. If you don't, your skulls will be bashed in with this spanner.
Just a moment, my good man. There's no need for you to be offended.
I know who you are. You're someone of those sneaky people.
Simmons, hold on. These gentlemen are friends of mine. This is Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Oh.
This is Joe Simmons, gentlemen.
Hi, Simmons.
The foreman of my machine works and the best motor car mechanic in the world.
You'll understand my suspicions, Mr. Grierson, when I tell you that Mr. Charles saw some bloke hanging about here while you were up in London.
What, did you catch him?
No, I'm sorry to say I didn't, sir. We chased him, but the blighter got away. Hello, Uncle Austin. How did she run?
Perfectly, Charles, perfectly. You and Joe have a tune to a hair. Gentlemen, my nephew, Charles Grierson, who helped me design my car. Charles, Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson.
How do you do?
How do you do?
She's a beauty, isn't she, gentlemen?
Come, let's go up to the house for some tea. Simmons, you will be here on guard tonight?
You bet I will, Mr. Grierson.
And keep Jeff with you. Stay here, Jeff. Good dog.
It was rotten luck, that fellow getting away, Uncle. I was gaining on him till I climbed the fence near the road, and then I gave my ankle a twist that ended all hope of catching him.
Oh, too bad, Charles.
Tell me, Mr. Grierson, have you or your nephew any suspicions that might indicate which one of your competitors is behind these attempts?
No, not a thing.
I wish we had, Mr. Holmes. Have you taken any precautions? We've rigged an alarm bell from the barn to the house. Simmons has only to touch a lever, and the gong will ring in the main hall. What of Simmons himself? There's such a thing as bribery, you know.
I'd stake my life on Joe's honesty. He's been with me 20 years.
Now that I've washed the dust off the outside, I'm glad to see that you gentlemen have something that'll do the job internally.
Yes. You are, Doctor.
Oh, thank you.
Hello, Uncle Austin.
Good evening.
Oh, Helen, my dear. This is Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson. My ward, Miss Helen Lacey, and her fiancé, my other nephew, Edward Grierson.
How do you do?
I'm glad to see you gentlemen survived your ride in my uncle's infernal contrivance.
Yes, to my surprise, we did. I gather that you agree with my low opinion of the Horseless Carriage.
I've told my uncle often enough that I regard it in the same light as the South Sea bubble.
Oh, now, Edward, don't get started on that again.
Just you wait until we've won the race and are turning out cars by the dozen, Edward, and you'll find yourself with plenty of legal work on your hands.
Taking care of damage suits, probably.
By the way, I ran across a rather odd thing today in a letter of inquiry from America. Did you know that in all countries except England, people drive on the wrong side of the road?
What? Do you mean to say that in other countries they don't keep to the left?
Absolutely not. They drive on the right.
Barbaric.
Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson are going to be staying with us, Helen, until... The alarm. Good Scott! Simmons, the car!
Something's happened.
Hurry! Simmons! Let us in. you all right?
I'm all right.
Why did you ring the alarm?
Well, look at that, Mr. Holmes.
Jeff!
Right. It's the dog.
He's dead.
Of all the rotten things. And from the rigor of the limbs, I have no doubt he was poisoned.
No question of it, Holmes.
The scoundrel must have been frightened off by the alarm bell before he could tackle Simmons. What do you think, Mr. Holmes?
I think, Mr. Grierson, that Dr. Watson and I will stand guard over the car until race time tomorrow. I wouldn't like to see Jeff's fate visited upon a human being. Mr. Grierson.
You've done your job, Mr. Holmes. Now I'll do mine. Careful of that curve near Petersfield, Uncle.
Be careful, Uncle.
Good luck. Come back all in one piece.
Car number 4, go!
What's the time, Helen?
1 hour and 46 minutes.
With luck, the first car should be finishing soon, shouldn't it?
You're overlooking the time necessary for changing tires, Mr. Holmes. After all, covering better than 40 miles at top speed, they have to make 2 or 3 changes.
Yes, I never heard of having to change a horse's shoes 2 or 3 times in 40 miles, did you?
Oh, quiet, Watson.
The day will come, Dr. Watson, when you will see tires that will go as much as 500 miles without requiring replacement.
Don't mind him, Dr. Watson. He has the same illusions as my uncle of the future of these dreadful machines.
There he comes! There he goes!
What color's the car? What can you see?
So much dust
I just make out of red.
The Grierson's red.
It's your uncle.
Hey, Joe, yes, so it is.
We've won! We've won!
I told you we'd win. Oh, come on. Let's be the first to congratulate Uncle.
Well, Holmes, our little job is finished now.
I hope so, Watson. I hope so.
Well, I'll admit the way Mr. Grierson took the bridge outside Alton, my heart was in my mouth. But it was a great race.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Charles.
Hello, Charles.
Where's Mr. Grierson, Charles?
Oh, I left him down in the barn. He's crooning over the car like a mother.
You don't think, Mr. Holmes, that the twisters who've been causing this trouble would try any tricks now that the race is over, do you, sir?
I hardly think anyone will make any attempts on the car.
Oh, here's a telegram for you, Mr. Holmes. It just arrived.
Thank you.
Is Uncle Austin still down at the barn? Just passed by there. Thought I heard a motor running.
Uncle's promised to let me drive the next race.
I'm glad it's you and not Edward who likes motors.
I say, Holmes, where are you going?
Down to the barn.
You don't think that there's anything wrong, do you?
I told you, Watson, I was no longer concerned about the car. Give me a hand with this door, Watson. Seems to be stuck.
Here, let me get my shoulder against it.
Now. Push. Back, Watson, back.
What is it, Holmes?
What's wrong? What on earth's the matter? Don't go in there. That motor's still running. Those fumes are deadly carbon monoxide. Edward, take Helen back to the house.
No, Holmes, don't go in there.
I've got enough.
All right, I'll help you.
No, you don't, Dr. Watson. If you go in, there'll be 3 of you in this great house.
Here. Give me your hand. That's better. Take care of him, Watson.
It's no use going on with that artificial respiration, Charles. I'm afraid there's nothing further that we can do for your uncle.
Will you get in touch with the police, Charles?
I'll send someone to town right away.
I'd best get down to the factory and tell them what's happened. There'll be no party over the victory tonight.
There's another devilish thing that you can charge up to the motor car, Holmes. Grierson evidently stayed in the closed barn with the motor running, was overcome by the deadly fumes, fell, and died of suffocation.
And how do you account for that deep wound at the back of his head?
Well, obviously, when he fell, he struck his head against the metal bonnet of the car. You saw the blood on the edge of the bonnet, didn't you?
Quite so. And I also noticed that Grierson's face is extremely pale. Did you notice that, Watson?
Yes, of course. What of it?
Simply that carbon monoxide victims invariably show a cherry red discoloration of the face.
What do you mean, Holmes?
This is no accident, Watson. This is murder.
Just just a moment, we'll rejoin Sherlock Holmes as he endeavors to solve the mysterious death of Austin Grierson. Every man who takes pride in his appearance should know that handsome, healthy-looking hair needs a hygienic scalp. That's why when you buy a hair tonic, be sure to get your money's worth. Don't just settle for any hairdressing when you can enjoy the extra advantages of Kreml Hair Tonic. This highly specialized hair tonic contains an amazing combination of hair grooming ingredients which is found in no other hair tonic. Kreml keeps dry, stubborn hair neatly in place all day and always gives hair such a natural, well-groomed appearance, never sticky or greasy. But men, Kreml does lots more than keep hair looking handsome. Kreml leaves your scalp feeling so alive. At the same time, it removes dandruff flakes. It's simply great to lubricate a dry scalp. And if your hair is so dry it breaks and falls when you comb it, Kreml actually helps condition the hair, in that it makes it feel softer, more pliable. So men, buy a bottle of Kreml at any drug counter. Ask for an application at your barber shop. Let Kreml help keep your scalp hygienic, your hair always looking its very best. Kreml, Kreml Hair Tonic. Now, Dr. Watson, what happened after Sherlock Holmes discovered Mr. Grierson had not died accidentally but had been murdered?
Well, I was still the only one to whom Holmes had revealed the shocking discovery, and he'd cautioned me to say nothing of it. As we walked back to the house a few minutes later, I suggested a theory.
And on what do you base your suspicions of Edward, Watson?
Well, it's obvious. Grierson told us last night that his two nephews would inherit equally, and Edward has made no secret of the fact that he felt his uncle was throwing away the family fortune in this wild venture. Besides, he had the opportunity. What do you think, Holmes?
I think, Watson, that the libel laws being what they are, and Edward being a lawyer, you had better not air your opinion where he can hear you.
Oh, really?
Ah, Edward. How is Helen?
She's resting upstairs, Mr. Holmes. One of the maids is staying with her. This horrible affair has shaken her badly.
Of course.
I've sent Joe Simmons to town with a message for the police, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, Charles.
I'm afraid it'll be the better part of an hour before we can expect them.
I wonder, Watson, if you'd be good enough to take care of this little matter that I've noted down on the slip of paper.
Huh? Oh, that's right. I'll see to it at once, Holmes.
Gentlemen, I gathered from what your uncle said last night that you will now be the joint owners of the Southampton Machine Works and of his motor car patents.
Yes.
Do you intend to carry on as before?
Of course not, Mr. Holmes. My uncle knew how I felt about all this expensive foolishness.
I've agreed to buy out Edward's share, and he's going up to London to carry on his legal career.
Well, if you don't need me for anything further, Mr. Holmes, I think I'll sit upstairs and see how Helen is doing.
Of course, Edward. I hope you'll find her bearing up under the shock.
Thank you.
Charles, there are one or two minor points that I'd like to get clear in my own mind before the police arrive.
Anything I can tell you, Mr. Holmes, I'll be glad to.
Now, Charles, when we left you and your uncle, he was about to have you check some question regarding the sparking plugs in the motor. Is that right?
Quite, Mr. Holmes. I opened the bonnet and removed the sparking plugs for Uncle's inspection. Meanwhile, he refilled the petrol tank.
So that there would be sufficient petrol to allow him to test the motor, I assume.
That's right. The tank was almost empty after the race.
Precisely. You didn't help him refill the tank then, did you?
No, I was busy removing the sparking plugs.
And when you were finished?
Uncle told me not to wait for him, that he wanted to run the engine for a few minutes and that I should join you others up here.
And you came straight from the barn to the room in which we all were?
Why, yes.
You stopped nowhere on the way?
Nowhere, Mr. Holmes.
Well, that all seems simple enough.
Yes, I took care of that little matter, Holmes.
Is everything satisfactory?
Quite.
Excellent. If you and Charles will excuse me, Watson, I'll be back in a few minutes.
Why, certainly, Mr. Holmes.
By the way, Charles, Dr. Watson and I will be returning to London as soon as the police have been here.
Very well. I suppose, Dr. Watson, that this tragic accident confirms your distaste for the motor car.
Yes, it does, Charles. Or rather, it would if Holmes hadn't convinced me that it wasn't an accident.
What do you mean?
Something I shouldn't. I thought Holmes had told you that...
Told me what?
Nothing. Nothing.
I insist on knowing what you're hinting. Are you implying that my uncle's death was not accidental?
Well, of course it didn't occur to me. But Holmes pointed out that in the case of monoxide poisoning, the face and lips would be congested. And your uncle's face was pale. Holmes seemed to think that...
I'll see for myself what Holmes thinks. I won't stand for any insinuations.
Holmes seemed to think that your uncle was... Oh, gone.
Watson, did he take the bait?
Swallowed it hook, line, and sinker.
Good work, Watson.
You evidently carried out my instructions in a note to perfection.
Yes, I think I convinced him that I left the cat out of the bag quite accidentally. He said he was going off to have it out with you at once.
He must have changed his mind rather suddenly, judging from the way he hurried down the hall and tiptoed out of the front door.
I don't understand.
To prove that Austin Grierson was murdered, Watson, would be a matter of utmost simplicity. But my certainty that it was Charles who murdered him rests upon so slender a bit of evidence that I'm sure no jury in the world would convict him. It was necessary to make Charles betray himself, and he fell into our trap. His very flight is a confession of guilt. Ah, listen.
So that's why you told me to remove those things, sparking plugs you call them, from the car.
Quite. So that Charles would be forced to make his escape on one of the horses, once he'd discovered that the car would not start.
But Holmes, undoubtedly he'll take the fastest horse. How on earth are we going to catch up with him?
In the motor car, of course.
The motor car, but Simmons isn't here. Who on earth's going to drive the infernal thing?
I observed Mr. Grierson's actions rather closely yesterday. I feel quite certain that I'm competent to operate the machine.
Oh, this is the end.
Come on, Watson. Show me where you hid those sparking plugs.
Slow down. It's so dark I can barely see the road.
Keep your eyes open, Watson. We should be overtaking him any moment. And keep your service revolver ready.
Hello, there's something up ahead there. Just caught a glimpse of it against the skyline.
There he is. Brace yourself, Watson. I'm going to cut in ahead of him. Stop or we fire. Good shot, Watson. You killed me, you devils. Take a look at him, Watson.
Got him through the shoulder. Painful, but not fatal.
Blast you, Holmes. You had the devil's own luck. I can assure you it wasn't luck that gave you away and revealed your whole scheme. You thought that once your uncle was out of the way and you had bought out your brother's interest, you would have sole control of a business that would prove a gold mine. You can't prove it.
A gold mine? Why, Edward told me that Mr. Grierson had sunk a fortune into his experiments.
So he had. But what Edward did not know, but Charles had evidently learned, was that the banking firm of Holder and Stevenson had offered Mr. Grierson £100,000 for his patents. The offer was dependent upon his winning the race. The telegram I received yesterday from Holder and Stevenson was an answer to my inquiry. You devil.
Good heavens, then, Holmes, all those previous attempts at sabotage...
Those were designed to make us think that some competitor was responsible. All meant to point away from the real murderer.
The dog. Why poison the dog?
Another attempt to lead us off the track by making us believe strangers were responsible.
But, Holmes, what was it that made you realize that it was Charles who killed his uncle?
As I've often told you, Watson, you see, but you do not observe. You may remember that when we returned from our drive, Mr. Austin Grierson, when you wanted to wash off the dust, told you that there was no place in the barn where you could do so.
What on earth's that got to do with it?
When this fellow here had removed the sparking plugs after the race at his uncle's request, his hands must have been covered with dirt and grease. But when he joined us at the house, his hands were quite clean. He told me when I questioned him that he had not stopped anywhere on the way. Obviously, it must have been he that filled the petrol tank so that the engine would keep running after he had killed his uncle. Nothing but petrol would have washed off the oil and dirt from his hands.
Good heavens, Holmes, and that was the slender clue which told you that he'd killed Grierson.
So slender a clue, Watson, that it was only your excellent performance that betrayed this fellow into the flight that will convict him.
Oh, thanks very much. Only did what you told me, Holmes.
In just a moment, Dr. Watson will be back to tell us about next week's story. Ladies, of course you use a shampoo to wash your hair. But just a word of caution. There are many popular shampoos today which leave the hair lustrous but have a tendency to dry the hair. And here's why I advise you to always use Kreml. Lovely Powers models were among the first to discover the amazing beautifying qualities of Kreml shampoo.
Yes, Mr. Bell. The girls claim no other shampoo leaves hair with more brilliant, glossy, natural highlights. Yet under no circumstances does Kreml shampoo ever dry your hair.
Kreml shampoo is not a soapless shampoo. It's not a cream shampoo. It's entirely different.
It really is different, Mr. Bell. After a Kreml shampoo, the hair actually radiates natural, brilliant luster. But Kreml shampoo has a built-in oil base, which helps keep the hair from becoming dry or brittle.
So, ladies, be smart. Always wash your hair with Kreml shampoo. It leaves hair a vision of shining beauty, yet in no way hurts the texture. Kreml, Kreml shampoo. Now, Dr. Watson, what about next week?
Well, now let me see. Next week, I think I'll tell you a story I always referred to as Q for murder.
Q for murder? That sounds as if it concerned the theater, Dr. Watson.
That's where you're wrong, Mr. Bell.
Oh?
This adventure took place in the depth of Limehouse near the docks and concerned a particularly unpleasant and fiendish murderer.
Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure was suggested by an incident in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's story, The Beryl Coronet. Nigel Bruce appeared by permission of California Pictures. Tom Conway through the courtesy of Eagle Lion Pictures. The Sherlock Holmes series is produced by Tom McKnight, with original music composed and conducted by Alex Steiner. This is Joseph Bell speaking for Kreml Hair Tonic and Kreml Shampoo, inviting you to be with us next week at this same time, when Dr. Watson will tell us about Q for murder.
Crime does not pay.
Nice going, Annie. Very nice. You're terrific.
It's easy with a rifle, Frank. Here, watch. Anyhow, tin cans on a fence don't move.
Moving targets, huh, Annie?
Yeah.
All right, now look what I rigged up yesterday.
What?
You see, here, look, you pull the rope here. see?
Yeah.
And way off there, a can swings like a pendulum. See?
Hey, that's better. Okay, let's see. There's nothing to it.
Your folks must have named you for Annie Oakley.
Like I said, Frankie, with a rifle, it's a cinch. Watch me with a pistol now. Okay, start the can swinging.
Yeah, check.
Here I go. 1 and 2 and... How am I doing, boy?
Oh, baby, you are a genius with a gun. Another couple of weeks and we'll be going places.
Weeks? What's the matter with right now? If I can hit tin cans at this distance, a guard at a bank ought to be easy as the sight of a barn.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Two Gun Annie, starring Joan Loring. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Joan Loring as Ann Armistead in Two Gun Annie. It was strange somehow, at least to those who knew her. Anne was a small girl, light brown hair, nice features, a pretty girl. More, Anne had every advantage of a decent upbringing and a nice home. Her father, Martin Armistead, widowed when Anne was quite young, was a school teacher. Respectability was the keynote of his life and of Anne's. All of which made it seem hardly within the realm of possibility that her father should have trouble with Anne. Still, the trouble came to the point where the father faced his daughter in the living room and spoke to her in no uncertain terms.
It's beyond my comprehension, Anne. I know what you've been up to, but I can't believe it.
What do you know I've been up to, Dad?
You were involved with the hot rods on the road Saturday night. You were at the roadside rest until after 2 in the morning.
So what? What if I was? And how do you know this anyway? Did you see me?
One question at a time, Anne. I know because Joe Barlow saw you from his prowl car and came to me about it.
Joe Barlow should mind his own business.
It is his business, Anne. He's a policeman. I never thought you would be a policeman's business, Anne.
So we were speeding. We weren't risking anybody's neck but our own. There wasn't another car on the road.
Stop it, Anne. You're a senior at high school. You know better. Even if you haven't any sense of responsibility, you ought to know
I don't
better
want any sense of responsibility. I want to have some fun.
Do you call it having fun when you put me to shame before the whole town?
Let the town mind its own business.
Perhaps when a teacher can't control his own child, it is the town's business. It may follow from that he can't control other people's children, even in the classroom.
Oh, cut it out, Dad. You can't get around me that way, and you know it.
What do I have to do with you, Anne? Lock you in your room?
Oh, try it and see what happens. I'll be 18 in a month. You'll lose me as an income tax deduction man.
Anne, I order you to stop your present behavior.
Save it, Dad. You're just talking.
Oh, am I? Well, then you listen, young lady. I've done my best for you since your mother died. You've never wanted for anything. You've had plenty of freedom. Maybe I should have seen to it that you were taught more self-control. I don't know. But I'll tell you this.
Oh.
I know you're a leader among the crowd that drives these jalopies and raises General Ned around town. And if you don't quit them now, I'll turn you over to Joe Barlow myself the day you're 18.
All finished, Dad?
In more ways than one.
Okay. Then I'm going out. Got a date with Frankie.
I warn you,
Save
Anne.
it, Dad. You said your piece, now I'll say mine. Before I give you or anybody a chance to turn me in, I'll leave this one-horse town forever. Take it or leave it, Dad. I'm sick of it, Frankie. I just won't take any more. I won't.
Well, what do you think? You think I like this town? For what I'm doing, Annie Pie? Jerking sodas for a bunch of kids in jeans? Great for excitement, I don't think.
What brought you here in the first place, then?
The railroad. This was as far from hometown as my dough would take me.
Well, you've been making money. Why do you stick?
On account of a little babe with light brown hair who was afraid of nothing. Not even of me.
Afraid of you, Frankie? You're the only man in town.
You can say that again.
Hey, how fast did we go last night?
Last night I went 65. Now, what'll you bet I can get her up to 70?
Go on, try it. You think she'll hold together?
I tightened the bailing wire this morning. Ready now? Hold on, baby. Here we go.
Wow. Frankie. Wait. Keep her going.
Down to the floor.
Frankie, this is great. It's the fastest you've ever gone.
Get your head out the window.
Oh, Frankie.
How about that, huh?
Oh, this is great.
Oh, shucks, the radiator. Couldn't take it.
But the needle went to 72. It
72,
was wonderful,
huh?
right?
No
Yeah,
kidding.
it was just wonderful. Boy, when we roll like that, it's out of this world.
Well, you sure like speed, don't you, Annie Pie?
I like anything that'll get me out of this jumping far, far away. Oh, Frankie, I'm so bored. I'm so darn bored. Except when we do things like that.
Now, honey, take it easy, Anna. Just settle down for a minute, because I want to talk to you.
Now you sound like my father.
I don't feel like your father.
You don't act like him. Oh, Frankie.
You mean it, baby, about getting out of this town?
Like I never meant anything in my whole life. I want to get away. Get to a big city, maybe. Get my hands on some dough, real money.
How's your patience, Ann?
Patience? What for?
Bowie, we might have to take more of this before we could really get away.
Hey, you sound like you had a plan.
I have. Now, listen, I could go back home.
Yeah.
Tell the family I came back because I'm married and broke. They'd give me the money to send for you. That'd be the first step.
Yeah?
After that, we could go on and we could plan. We could make real plans. You and me together, Annie Pie. We could go places.
All right, Frankie. I'll be 18 next month. I'll be on my own. Send for me then, Frankie. And I'll take the first train going your way.
Baby, you look terrific.
I feel terrific. I'm here.
What about your old man?
Oh, I had it out with him. Told him I was going bye-bye. He didn't say much, just looked sad around the edges. Hey, I'm free, Frankie. Where do we go from here?
Oh, we go to my folks' place. For a while, anyway. Hey. Here, put this on.
A wedding ring?
Yeah, check. I told him you're my wife. Next couple of days, if we have time, we can drive over to a justice and make it legal, huh?
Frankie.
Now, come on, Annie Pie. The jalopi's wait. Time's a wasting. We got things to do, you and me.
What's this, Frankie? See if I'm a good student when you're the teacher.
Hey, nice going, Annie. Very nice. You're terrific.
It's easy with a rifle, Frank. Watch. Anyhow, tin cans on a fence don't move.
Moving targets, Annie. All right. Now, look what I rigged up yesterday.
Yeah?
You see here, look. You pull her up here, see?
Yeah.
And way off there, see, a can swings like a pendulum.
Hey, that's better. Okay. Let's see. Oh, there's nothing to it.
Sister, your folks must have named you for Annie Oakley.
Like I said, Frankie, with a rifle, it's a cinch. Okay, watch me with a pistol now. Okay. Start the can swing.
Yeah. Check.
Here I go. 1, 2, and... How am I doing,
Oh, you're
boy?
a genius with a gun, baby. Another couple of weeks and we'll be going places.
Weeks? Well, what's the matter with right now? If I can hit tin cans at this distance, a guard at a bank ought to be as easy as the side of the barn.
Why, Anne, whatever. Where you two going this time of morning?
We're going hunting, Mom. Deer season opens today.
Well, the slacks are all right, Anne, but... Well, I must say you look like a boy with that baseball cap and all.
That's the idea, Mom.
Now, why would a young man want his wife to look like a boy?
Well, fellas might kid me too much. You know, who takes his wife along hunting?
You do, darling.
Don't I, though?
Both of you be careful. More people get killed in accidents. Here, Anne. Wear this.
Your red scarf? But, Ma, when's
Then nobody will mistake you for an animal. There. Red goes well with your coloring.
Let's go, Annie Pie.
No breakfast?
Oh, we'll be all right. We're going through town. Frank says the hunting is better over in that direction. Don't you, Frankie?
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, goodbye, Mom. Don't worry. We're going to be fine. All right, shut up, everybody. Shut up. Shut up now, do you hear me? First man opens his mouth gets it. See my partner's guns? He's got an itchy finger. I'll keep him covered, kid, while I get the cash.
You bet, fella. We said don't move. Shut up, lady. You're not hurt. Shut up, everybody.
All right, kid. I got all the cash. Let's go. Boy, there sure be a run on this bank this afternoon.
They're starting. Yeah. Quick, before they turn on the alarm.
How much you think we got, Annie Pie?
We'll count it later. Good hunting, though. Hey, you think they knew?
No, not a chance. Hey, there goes the alarm.
Keep driving. I'll watch behind. Let me get rid of your Ma's red scarf. They'll be describing it all over in half an hour.
But we'll be out of the state.
Hey, Frankie, police car taking off after us.
That was fast.
Slow down a minute. Slow down. Do as I say. They can catch us anyway. They got souped up motors. Good. Hold steady now. Don't spoil my aim.
And don't kill anybody.
You think I'm crazy? I just want to... Oh, I missed. Both hands. One more try. They're getting closer.
Shooting at us.
Well, did you think they wouldn't? Hold everything, Frankie. I can't miss this time. Hey, I got him. Right front tire. Blew right off the rim. Speed up, Frankie. We're in the clear. Now they'll never catch us.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Two Gun Annie. now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Joan Loring as Ann Armistead in Two Gun Annie. They made it that first time. They made it completely. The police car, its tires shot out by Ann's marksmanship, abandoned the chase. Ann and Frankie drove into the next state, to the outskirts of a big city. There, excited, tired, they left their jalopy well hidden in a small wood, but not before Ann had exchanged her boy's attire for a sweater and skirt. Then they walked into the heart of the city, found a furnished room, and settled down. A week passed. The excitement began to disappear. Another week, and another. By the end of the month, with pursuit apparently a thing of the past, Ann and Frank ventured into the streets in daylight as well as at night. Late one afternoon, in a quiet residential neighborhood.
Frankie?
Uh-huh.
How much do we have left? Of the money, I mean.
Enough.
Oh, now you bought me clothes. We've been to nightclubs. How much is left?
Well, you counted it with me. You know how much we had in the first place.
Oh, I see. We're almost broke, huh?
Yeah, check, Annie Pie.
We better start thinking about getting some more.
Oh, we'll need a car for that.
Well, that should be pretty easy. Only this time, no jalopy, a real car.
Why not a heap?
A real car doesn't sway. Not as much, anyway. I don't want to waste bullets like the last time.
Pie, you're terrific.
Thanks, Frankie.
Any special kind of car you're thinking of?
Yeah, a heavy one.
Heavy?
Yeah, see, like that sedan over there.
Yeah. Looks like there's plenty of speed under that hood, huh?
Yeah. I wonder... Come on, Frankie.
Now what?
Neighborhood like this, people have a tendency to get careless a little. Oh, they sure do. Look.
Yeah, I see the keys.
Hanging right in the lock on the dashboard. Ah, it's practically an invitation.
Isn't it, though?
Do we?
We do. It's a keen job, this one, huh?
You can say that again.
Where to, madame?
The house, Franklin.
The house?
There's certain equipment we don't want to leave behind, including the firearms and the young gentleman's outfit that fits me so well.
Gas, sir? How many gallons?
5 will do it, mister.
Will you turn off your ignition, please? Because...
Sorry, mister. As you can see, it's not your gas we're after.
Mister, tell the boy to put that gun away.
Why, when I told him to take it out in the first place? I do like the kid says, see?
Well, there's not much in the register. Please
Get
don't...
moving. If it's not in the register, it's someplace. Filling station big as this always has plenty of dough on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. What may we do for you?
We want a room. What have you got?
Well, sir...
We've driven a long way today. Anything with a bath will do.
Sorry, ma'am. There's nothing left with bath.
Well, how much without?
There's nothing left without either, sir.
Did you hear that, dear?
I heard. It's not very hospitable, is it?
No. Now, don't you think you could be more accommodating if you were in his place, dear?
Oh, I know I could.
Now, see here.
You see here.
A gun.
2 of them. And they talk loud if they have to.
You want to know what they say?
Yes, sir.
They say get into the office. My wife will mind the desk for you. Go on and get back into the office with me. Open the safe. We're a couple of guests you're going to pay to get to leave. Lots of power under that hood. How I'd love to let her out.
But you won't. It's not past the limit yet. No traffic cops this trip.
Check. Annie Pie, did you ever see a scared rabbit like that hotel clerk?
What a waste of time. $500 in the safe, and look at the chances we took.
Well, chances are part of this business, Annie Pie. It's like the big businessmen say, the calculated risk.
Yeah, sure, but the profit's got to be worth the risk.
Meaning, baby?
That the First National Bank over in White Oak is just begging for a heist.
And we didn't do so good at the first job in a bank.
Because we were green. We didn't figure on the time lock on the boss. This time we're really planning it. This is going to be a real haul.
Not a soul around. Perfect.
8:40. He'll be along any minute.
Cashier?
Right. He opens up, locks the door behind him. A couple of minutes later, his assistant comes in. Same routine. Just like I told you yesterday. Time lock opens the vault at 8:55 sharp. We'll have 5 minutes to clean out the joint.
Watch it, Annie. Here he comes.
Check and double check. Mind if we come in with you, mister?
I'm sorry, the bank isn't open until 9.
Yeah, get in. Shut the door. Your regular routine. This ain't no cat pistol.
Mine neither.
Yes, of course.
All right, move fast now. Come on, open the cages.
But they are...
You know what I mean. Pull that switch. I want the alarm off before I clean out the teller's cages.
You know your business, don't you? There you are.
All right, now face to the wall. As soon as your partner comes in, here's what I want you to...
He's at the door.
Yeah. What a surprise he's in for.
Yeah.
Morning, Arthur.
Oh.
You got early customers over against the wall. Go on, move.
Yes, of course.
All right, Frankie, clean out the cages.
It's an easy $15,000 here in cash, kid.
There'll be more in the vault.
The vault? You can't open it until 11 o'clock.
Save it, Smarty. We know the time lock goes off at 8:55, and you know the combination.
No, Arthur, you can't give it to them.
That'll take care of him for a while. We intend to have that vault open, Mr. Cashier.
And I have every intention of opening it. I don't especially care for a blow like that one. May I help him?
You may not.
He's bleeding badly. A gun barrel is a nasty weapon to hit a man.
Shut up or you'll get it, too.
Already on the vault, kid.
All right, you. Downstairs, the vault.
Certainly. This way.
An obliging punk, isn't he?
Oh, we don't mind. After all, we're insured, you know, and we're a national bank. We have plenty of resources. Only fools like my assistant would argue with loaded revolvers. Isn't that right?
Stop talking. Get the vault open. Open it, you hear, and shut up. Or we'll leave you inside it after we clean it out. Get moving now. Fast. What are you doing?
I'm hungry, honey. Coffee and hamburger do good right now. How about you?
Well, I suppose. I'd feel better if we had a few more miles between us and White Oak before we stopped.
Well, they won't expect us to stop this close. You get it?
Uh-huh. Leave the hall in the car?
Well, why not? Now, who'd expect to find 15 G's in cash and 25 more in securities in a parked car? Some haul, huh, Annie Pie?
40,000, not bad.
Not bad at all.
Let's go.
Now, tell me, can you figure it, Annie Pie?
What?
With dough lying around like that loose in banks. People taking jobs in joints like this.
I wonder what they do for excitement.
A drive-in movie, I guess. Now hit yourself to a stool, Annie Pie.
Hey, it smells good. Maybe I am hungry.
Morning, folks.
Hi, morning.
It's likely afternoon, isn't it?
Not till afternoon. What'll it be?
A couple with and coffee.
Any wheat cakes? I'll find out. Here, let me give you the setup. How about some coffee right away?
Good idea.
You come far this morning?
Not too far.
Is that your car out there?
Yeah, smooth, ain't it?
Oh, sure is.
Why do you ask?
Well, youngsters like you usually have jalopies, not big sedans like that.
Well, it was my father's. He got a new one. He gave me that one.
You're lucky. Wish I had a father like that. Excuse me, I'll ask the cook about the wheat cakes.
Coffee's good, isn't it, Frankie?
Sure is.
Hello? Is Sergeant Kurowski there? Margaret. No, I'm working this morning. Look, Dave, I think I got him here. The kids who struck up the bank in White Oak this morning. The FBI called before it gave a description. Told us to call you. Their car's a maroon sedan. Right year, right make. Only the young one's a girl. She must have been wearing slacks. Okay, I'll try to hold him. Only tell those G-men to hurry, will you? I think she's got a gun in her purse.
Does it take to make fresh wheat cake batter?
Well, Cook's very fussy about it, and he was upset because the old stuff was sour.
Take a burger, Ann. Let's get going.
Yeah, tell him to kill the wheats and make me a burger.
Okay, if that's what you want.
Hey, what's up, sister?
All right, you kids. Reach.
What, is this a stick-up?
FBI. That was a national bank in White Oak. We got your coal, kids. Thanks to this lady here.
She kept us here. She phoned the cops and kept us
Don't
here.
touch that purse.
No, Annie, don't.
Nobody takes me, and not even my own father could do that.
I'm sorry. It's just your arm. We don't like to shoot kids, but your shooting days are over.
You should have been quicker on the draw.
I didn't touch no gun. I didn't. Frank, you louse, you rotten filthy.
All right, save it, both of you. That assistant cashier, you fractured his skull. He died an hour ago. You're both due for a murder rap. All right, let's get going. The only party who comes out of this ahead is that lady back at the counter. The insurance company posted a reward half an hour ago.
Crime does not pay. Joan Loring, who starred as Ann Armistead in Two Gun Annie, will be back with you in just a moment. Now here in person is Joan Loring.
To me, at least, the story of Ann Armistead and Frank Winfield is a revealing one. Both young people came from good homes. Anne especially seemed to have every opportunity to grow into a fine woman, a good citizen. Still, they went, in the old expression, they went wrong. Where and why? Examination of both their stories gives us one important clue. Both of them felt their lives were dull, that they needed excitement and a chance for adventure. This feeling is part and parcel of youth. But for Anne and Frank, there was no provision for working off that extra steam. There was no program, no plan. There was no guidance for them. The older generation failed them, as it's failing in so many communities across this nation with disastrous results. That's why, in the last analysis, Anne and Frank sought the release which leads only to the final lesson. That crime does not pay.
Thank you, Miss Loring. Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Gart. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental. This is Bob Williams speaking.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Counterspy.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy. Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
United States Counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad.
These Counterspy reports to the American people are brought to you each week at this time. Now, the case of the Pseudo Spuds.
Yeah, just a minute.
Hello, Johnny.
Okay, well, come on in.
Nice joint you got here.
For what New York offers, it'll do. How's with you, Silky? Long time no see.
Getting by.
Who you looking for, Lily?
Never met her. Just heard about her. Like to see her.
She home? No, she's got one more show to do at the club tonight. Be here in about half an hour.
Half an hour, huh?
Yeah, stick around.
You know, I could never figure the story on her.
What do you mean, Silky?
Well, here she has Dirk Martin on the string. Biggest gambler in town, fur coats, jewels, anything she wants. And she blows them all for you.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, look, let's not kid ourselves. You're no big-timer. You're just a small-time hood liable to get his head blown off any minute. What's the secret, Johnny?
I'll show it to you.
Wedding ring, huh? That's right. I heard you got married.
It's as simple as that, Silky.
Too bad Dirk didn't know the secret.
Look, Silky, I don't like the way the conversation's going. What's on your mind?
I guess you ain't heard, kid.
Heard what?
I'm working for Dirk Martin now.
Working for Martin? I didn't even know you knew him.
Didn't you?
So he's still peeved about Lily.
No, he ain't peeved, Johnny.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
He just hates your guts. That's why he sent me around.
We're going over, huh?
It ain't that simple, Johnny. He wants Lil back.
Oh, he does. Well, let him try to get her to leave me.
Yeah, Dirk figures she won't. That's why you're going to leave her. Permanently.
Johnny? Johnny, you home? I've got... Johnny? Johnny!
Car number 14. Car number 14. This is a 3-2 signal. Investigate report of murder, 413 East Houston Street. Car number 14. Car number 14. Investigate report of murder.
Johnny. Johnny.
A place can become lonely all of a sudden, can't it?
What?
I suppose I shouldn't intrude at a time like this, Mrs. Darvell.
What do you want? Who are you?
A friend, I hope. And I think I want the same thing as you do.
Same thing.
Johnny's murderer. I heard the flash on the radio the other day.
Johnny, do you know who it was?
Yes.
Who? Tell me,
Easy, Mrs. Darvell. I can't prove anything. I just know it from the grapevine.
Who? What's his name?
Can't you guess?
Everybody liked Johnny. He didn't...
Everybody except Dirk Martin.
Dirk.
That's the word that's out.
Dirk.
A gun, Mrs. Darvell? That's hardly the smart thing.
Get out of my way.
Wait till I close the door.
Don't try and stop me, whoever you are. I should have known it was
Look,
Dirk.
Mrs. Darvell, my name is Gordon, Silky Gordon. I want to get Martin, too, but not the stupid way. That's why I came here. Now, I think that both of us can work together and be in the clear.
If you're trying to stop me...
I'm trying to help you. How'd you like to take Dirk Martin for a bundle of dough, frame him on a federal rap that he'll never get out of, and stay in the clear yourself? That's the real way to even things up for your, Johnny.
All right, Gordon. Talk.
Place your bets, all bets down.
Am I too late to put a blue chip on number 6?
No, madam, you can... Lily.
Hello, Baldy.
Pay 15 on the red.
Upset, Baldy?
No, glad to see you, Lil, but it's busy. Place your bets, all bets down.
Hello, Mrs. Darvell. Anything we can do for you?
Dirk Martin. I thought Baldy would push his little button when he saw me. You came promptly enough.
I asked if there's anything we could do for you, Mrs. Darvell.
Well, you might offer me a drink.
Of course, Mrs. Darvell. Let's sit in that end booth. Hey, Mike. 1 martini dry with olive. That's it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I heard about Johnny. Too bad.
Yeah. Leaves me kind of on the town again.
Well, that's one way of putting it. What's the point of this call?
Money.
Oh? Isn't that kind of blunt, Lily? After all, you gave me the go-by for Johnny. If he didn't leave you fixed, that's too bad.
Oh, I'm not asking you for any jerk. I'm offering you a way to make some, with me in for a cut. I can use dough right now.
Yeah, that's what I imagine. Well, what's the pitch?
What do you think of the war situation?
Huh?
Making conversation.
Well, that came from right field.
Well, what do you think of the international situation?
Bad, I suppose. Sometimes good, but mostly bad. Why?
Depends on how you look at it.
That means what?
There's one way to look at it that might mean close to $1 million in cash for us.
$1 million?
If you're not above such petty sums, Dirk.
You can find out more about it at my apartment tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Good night.
Hey, wait a minute, Lily.
Sorry, Dirk. Good night.
Harding, all the heads of our regional Counterspy offices are assembled in the auditorium.
How good, Peter. Have arrangements been made to fly them back to their offices as soon as the meeting's over?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go.
Right.
Gentlemen, Mr. Harding. Greetings, gentlemen. It's been quite some time since I've seen all our Counterspy regional directors together like this. But I've called you here for briefing and information regarding the grave foreign situation. But first, a bit of good news. Our Counterspy budget has been increased considerably, enough so that each regional office can have almost twice the number of agents you are now staffed with. This increase has been granted for a definite purpose. The United States wants to make sure that there will be no repetition of the scrap metal to Japan situation at this particular time. The additional personnel will be used to check all export shipments leaving this country. All suspicious shipments will be reported to this headquarters immediately for further action. That is all, gentlemen. The rest of your instructions are in the mimeograph pamphlet handed to you.
On the dot, Dirk. You're prompt.
Yeah. I'm curious.
I was sure you would be. Come in. I want you to meet someone.
Meet someone? What do you mean?
Relax, Dirk. It's not the law, and it's no one you know.
Lily, if this is a joke...
Dirk, I'd like you to meet...
Well, Lily, is this the fella you was telling me all about? Hiya, stranger. Say.
Shane?
Yes, Gordon's the name. G-O-R-Done Gordon. Little joke of my own. I never have to spell it out.
No?
Say, that's a mighty good grip you got there. Stand up to any man in Idaho, except me.
So what do you want?
I hope I didn't hurt you, boy. I got a powerful grip myself. Get it from farming, you know. It strengthens the wrist.
Mr. Gordon, would you get me my cigarettes? They're in the kitchen.
Why, sure thing, little gal. In 2 shakes of lamb's tail. I'll be right back.
What was that?
Like him?
A plow jockey. Who likes or doesn't like?
Well, I thought
What's the play, Lily? First you mention the international situation and then $1 million. Now you spring this hayseed on me.
I heard that, boy. Hayseed, is it? Now, look, mister, I like your looks, but I don't allow no man to insult me.
Take it easy, Gordon. I didn't insult.
All right, Silky, drop the act. Save it for the paying customer.
Okay, Lily. Look, I got him a little white around the gills. I thought he thought I was going to take a swing at him. Huh?
Hey, what is this, huh?
Meet Silky Gordon, one of the best con men in the business.
Hiya, Martin. I had you going, huh?
Yeah. Hey, Lily,
Silky will take over from here. He's got an idea that his act and your dough will net us $1 million to split 3 ways.
How? In one word, potatoes.
What?
Those little things you fry, boil, or mash.
And that I grow out on my Idaho farm and supposedly deal in.
Potatoes? You mean $1 million out of Spuds? Oh, you're crazy.
So's a fox. I've got the whole scheme mapped out on paper.
All we need is that old warehouse of yours and $50,000 operating capital.
What do you say?
Well, what am I supposed to say? Yes on what you told me? For $50,000, I want more information than that.
Sure. Take your time. Here's a setup. Read it.
Okay. Give me a short rundown on it.
Potatoes, Martin, price supported by Uncle Sam. You know this?
So?
This means the government buys them to keep the market price up to a certain level.
Yeah?
At present, $1.50 to, $1.80 100 pounds.
Yeah, I've heard tell of it.
And then they sell them for export at $0.01 100 pounds just to get rid of them.
Yeah, keep going.
Well, we buy them for that. 1 cent 100 pounds, you see? And then sell them right back to the government again at $1.50 100 pounds.
Just like that, huh?
Yeah, just like that.
Simple, isn't it, Dirk?
But wait a minute. You said we had to buy them for export to get them at $0.01 100 pounds.
That's right. We'll swear that we intend to dehydrate the potatoes. That is, dry them and export.
I'm following you.
Instead, we'll fill cardboard cartons with sawdust, label them dehydrated potatoes, and ship them to a stooge company in Europe, selling the real potatoes back to Uncle Sam at 10 or 12,000% profit.
Nice. Real nice.
Are you in, Dirk?
Maybe yes. Now, give me a little time. I want to read this stuff Gordon gave me and figure the angles.
Take a lot of time. Uncle Sam will still have the potatoes to sell.
Call me here when you decide, Dirk. I'll be waiting, and I'm sure you'll be calling. Hello?
Dirk, Lily.
I knew you'd call. Are you in?
Yeah. I'm having the boys clean out the warehouse.
And, what about the $50,000 capital?
You'll get it in a couple of days.
Oh, that's the way we like to do business, Dirk.
And tell Silky to start the ball rolling. And Lily, remember, I'll be watching you all the way.
I'm sure you will. Goodbye.
There, Cliff?
Yes, Silky.
He bit?
With all his teeth, the rat.
Wonderful. When's he coming across with the 50 G's?
In a couple of days.
And as soon as we get his dough, we start fitting him for the frame.
That's what I'm in this for, Silky. And it better be one he can't break out of.
He won't, baby. We'll work the deal just once with 50,000 bags of potatoes. I've got the contacts in Washington, so I can sell that many to the government.
What do I do?
Now, I've gotten in touch with a logging camp for the sawdust and cottons. You close the deal with them, and then apply for the export license for dehydrated potatoes in Dirk's name.
I'm beginning to get the picture.
And then, after I've collected from the government,
we leave Mr. Dirk Martin holding one big, empty bag.
You are listening to the case of the Pseudo Spuds on Counterspy. Tonight on NBC, it's the big show once again over most of these stations. Tallulah Bankhead is your MC, and just listen to a few of the stars who will be with you tonight. Bob Hope, Eddie Cantor, Jimmy Durante, Perry Como, Jose Ferrer, Mendy Carson, Meredith Wilson and his orchestra, and a host of other great performers. For an hour and a half of the best in comedy, music, and drama, it's the big show tonight. Another Sunday evening favorite is Theater Guild on the Air. And this week's hour-long Theater Guild production is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, starring Frederick March, Barbara Bel Geddes, and Hugh Williams. The chimes are your invitation to top Sunday evening listening here on NBC. Now, back to Counterspy.
Hello?
Well, old Farmer Gordon speaking.
Silky, you hear anything yet?
I just got an acknowledgement of receipt from the government. They got my shipment of 50,000 bags of fine Idaho potatoes.
Well, what about the payment?
I'll receive the check in 15 days at my Idaho farm address.
Ah, nice going, Silky.
How's your end of the deal? The sawdust going?
It's all down at the warehouse in cartons now. Ready to be the frame around Dirk's neck.
We'll put it there as soon as we cash that check from Uncle Sam. So long, Lil. You'll be hearing from me when I need you. New York Counterspy section from Export section, Commerce Department. Export license off the shipment dehydrated potatoes at present stored in warehouse at 91241 10th Street. Request routine check and approval your department before granting license.
Silky?
right here, Lil. In the warehouse door.
You got the stuff?
2 5-gallon cans. How about the insurance?
I took it out in Dirk Martin's name.
No action on the export license yet?
Not so far.
I was just wondering. Thought they might send someone around to check on the stuff.
They only do that at the pier. Let's go in. You sure Dirk won't yell copper?
How can he? When we put this place on fire, he's going to have a mighty suspicious insurance company on his hands. He'll probably have to waive the claim, but it'll keep him plenty busy while we make ourselves scarce.
All right, let's get...
What?
Listen.
Someone.
Look. Down that aisle of cartons. A guy. Prying into a customs department, I bet.
If he finds out about the sawdust.
I know what you mean.
Listen, Sucky.
Yeah?
I'll go down and get his attention. You come round the back and jump him.
Right.
You there.
What?
What's the meaning of this? Who are you?
Oh, excuse me, miss.
What are you doing in this warehouse? How'd you get in?
Are you connected with the firm that owns this place, miss?
Yes, I am. And I think it's my place to ask the questions. Or would you rather I call an officer?
Oh, that won't be necessary. You see, I'm
Now, Cookie.
What?
Let go of me. Oh, no. No, you don't.
Your knife, Cookie, your knife. Oh.
Brother, he was plenty tough.
Is he?
Yeah, dead.
So is he?
Wait. I'll look through his pockets. Uh-oh.
What?
United States Counterspy. This ain't good, Lil.
It's wonderful. Perfect. Dirk can take the rap for this, too.
Yeah, that's right. I'll get the kerosene cans.
And spill it all around, Silky.
Don't worry. When we put a match to this place, we want to make sure the whole thing goes up.
Operator, get me the fire department quick. There's a fire in the warehouse at 10th and Front Street. This is the watchman on the pier across the way. You'd better get here quick. It's dangerous. It's going up. The whole place is going up.
Attention, Mr. Harding, Counterspy Headquarters. Attention, Mr. Harding, Counterspy Headquarters. This is an emergency 3-2 flash.
Peters, grab your hat and come on. The plane's waiting.
Where are we going?
New York. Warehouse fire. Explosion of export shipment.
Where do I catch up there? Sabotage?
I don't know. All I've got is the warehouse address and the nature of the shipment. Dehydrated potatoes.
Potatoes?
Supposed to be. The Counterspy agent was examining the shipment at the time of the fire and explosion. There's no news of him yet. Now, when we land, Peters, you follow up on the material I'll give you. I'm going right to our New York laboratory and see what they've got.
Over this way, Mr. Harding, to our electric furnace.
Right with you, Colonel. What's this set up for?
Well, that cardboard carton in the electric furnace, it's one that was salvaged from the warehouse fire.
Contains munitions of some type, doesn't it?
No, sir.
But the explosion...
Watch, Mr. Harding. I'll switch the furnace on.
What's the point?
Just a moment, sir. I had the furnace on before you arrived. It'll be up to the right temperature in a few seconds. There, that's what I wanted you to see.
What kind of explosive is it?
It isn't, sir. That cardboard box that just blew apart contained ordinary sawdust packed in tightly.
Sawdust?
That's right, sir. Sawdust packed tight and under intense heat generates its own explosive power. With the right conditions, it's just as dangerous as dynamite.
Not dehydrated potatoes or munitions.
No, sir. But there's something crooked about the whole setup. Our agent.
Yeah?
Well, the autopsy shows he wasn't killed by the fire. He was murdered. Knife wounds.
Murdered. What about the sawdust? Have you analyzed it yet?
Yes, sir. We put it through the spectrograph, did a microchemical analysis on it. The reports are over here.
Ordinary pine sawdust.
That's right. The pitch content indicates southern pine. And from the cellular structure of the wood, we place it as coming from somewhere in Georgia or the Carolinas.
Oh?
The moisture content indicates it's been freshly cut from logs instead of dried and cured wood.
That means that the stuff came from a logging camp, not a lumberyard.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, Crandall. If anything else comes up, I'll be in the communications room. To all field offices, Southern Regional District, United States Counterspies. Request immediate check of all logging camps in your field area. Ascertain methods of disposal and sale of sawdust. Check thoroughly and report to me on any new purchasers of item. Give this top priority.
Hello, Chief.
Peters, where have you been?
Checking on the ownership of that warehouse and the potato shipment.
Any difficulty?
A lot less than I expected. The warehouse is owned by a set of dummy corporations set up to hide the real owner, one Dirk Martin.
The gambler?
That's right. And that shipment of potatoes was bought and supposedly dehydrated by the same Mr. Martin.
Oh, hidden ownership again.
Right, Dave, but not very cleverly done.
Wait, hold it a second, please. Hello? Tackett from the Atlanta field office? Okay, put him on. Hello, Tackett. Yes, that's right, the sawdust. Oh, you did? Good. Who bought it? No, that company name isn't familiar. Did you find out who owns and runs it? Good. Who? What? You're sure? Okay, Tackett, nice job. Goodbye.
What is it, Dave?
Peters, you knew about the sawdust in the explosion.
Yes, Crandall told me.
Well, that, too, points the finger at Dirk Martin. He bought it.
Martin?
Yes.
It doesn't wash, Chief. We know Martin's record. He's a real cozy bird. He doesn't leave loose ends around this way.
3 big neon-lighted arrows pointing right at him.
Dave, I may be wrong, but this shapes up like a great big frame.
I know it does, Peters, and I think we'll call on Dirk Martin right away and see if we can find the picture that fits the frame.
Silky, get that. I've got to finish packing.
Pretty insistent, whoever it is.
Well, open the door. That's the only way we can leave anyway.
I don't like it, Lil. You open it. I'll cover you from behind the door.
Dirk.
That's right, baby. Inside.
The idea, Dirk.
You tell me what the idea is. My boys got word to me the warehouse is on fire. Burned down.
No kidding, Dirk.
Do I look like I'm kidding?
But that's wonderful, a break for all of us. Now we're completely covered. The fire will hide everything. There's one phony shipment of sawdust we won't have to make.
Was it phony?
What do you mean?
You said sawdust, and the place blew up completely. Maybe you were trying to use me as a front for some other kind of shipment, eh?
Don't be crazy, Dirk.
And maybe you know something about the body they found in the fire.
Body?
Yeah. Look, baby, you'd better start talking. I'm going to have to slap a lot of words out of you.
I wouldn't, Dirk.
What?
I had you covered from the minute you entered.
So I was right. A big double cross.
That's right, Dirk.
But you caught on a little too fast.
What do we do with him, Lou?
Guess there's only one thing we can do.
Same treatment like the guy in the warehouse? So you did start the fire?
That's right, Dirk. We had it all framed nicely. You'd have to stand still for an arson rap and keep quiet about us, or you'd get a bigger jolt for swindling. They might even have pinned that guy's death on you. That's one way you would have paid for killing Johnny.
Johnny? Are you nuts?
Tell him, Silky. Tell him what you told me about how he killed Johnny.
Me kill Johnny?
Yes, you wanted me back. It was the only way you figured I'd come.
Look, Lily, there isn't a quail in the world I'd risk a murder rap for. I didn't shoot your Johnny boy.
Silky, you said that...
Shouldn't believe everything I say, Lil. I needed you to pull this racket on Dirk. Getting you through Johnny was the fastest way.
You killed him.
That's right, baby. And it looks like the same deal for you and Dirk Martin, so there'll be no more talking.
Martin has already talked.
What?
Oh, United States Counterspy.
Well, you stinking...
He's out of action, Chief.
You'd better not try the same move, Mrs. Darvell.
So Dirk Martin's a stoolie.
You bet I am, baby, when it comes to standing still for a murder rap.
Did he tell you everything? Did he tell you about the deal?
He did, Mrs. Darvell, all about your big swindle, stealing money from the government at the expense of our fighting men. At a time when we need every dollar for defense, and he's going to stand trial for it. But not for murder, baby. You can take that one alone. All right, Peter, take them both out of here.
Tune in every week, same time, same station, to Counterspy. Listen next week for the exciting case of the hideous hijacker.
When medical supplies, sorely needed by our fighting men and allies in Asia, were hijacked, The Counterspy organization was put on a double alert. By getting information from a dead man, firing bullets into sawdust, and putting cardboard under a strange light, your counterspies uncovered a kettle of fish that was 15,000 miles long. Be sure to listen next week to
The Case of the Hideous Hijacker on Counterspy. Tonight's Counterspy program originated in New York, was directed by Marks B. Loeb, dramatized by Palmer Thompson, and featured Don McLaughlin and Mandel Kramer. Lionel Rico speaking. Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production. Three chimes mean good times on NBC.